Where'd she get some water? Water! Saucy! Sauce is later. Dang, you guys are so quick, dude. Quick with it.
Bean played daily check in less than 3 for 1 channel
Bean.
points.
God damn. Hi, bub. Yay! Why you yaying? Why you yaying? Hello, hello, everybody. No, wrong one. I don't got a pup command, pup. I don't even know what to put on there.
Pup played daily check in less than
Don't
3
forget
for 1
to
channel
snag
points.
third, pup, before someone steals it from you. Alright. Murder was legal in our town. I grew up seeing it. At 8 years old, I watched a man walk out into our local cafe while I drank my peanut butter chocolate milkshake and kill 2 people dead. There was no malice in his eyes, no hatred. He was just a normal guy who smiled at the waitress and winked at me. My mom told me to keep drinking my milkshake, and I did, licking away the excess whipped cream while the bodies were carried out and the pooling red was cleaned from the floor. I could still see flecks of white in the red and my stomach twisted. But I didn't feel scared. I had no reason to be. Nobody was screaming or crying. The man who shot them sat down to eat a burger and fries, not blinking an eye. That was my first experience seeing death. With no rules forbidding murder, you would think a town would tear itself apart. That is not what happened. Murder was legal, yes, but it didn't happen every day. It happened when people had the urge. Mom explained it to me when I was old enough to understand. The urge was a phenomenon that had been affecting the townspeople long before I was born, and there was no real way to stop it. So, it didn't stop. Mom told me she had killed her first person at the age of 17, her math teacher. There was no reason or motive. Mom said she just woke up one day and wanted to kill him. That specific killing became more of a bedtime story to lull me to sleep. I didn't like her smile when she told me about her killing. Sometimes I got scared she was going to murder me too. Growing up, I was constantly on edge. Every day I woke up and pressed my hand to my forehead, asking myself the same question. Did I want to kill anyone? Those thoughts blossomed into paranoia when I wasn't sure what I was feeling. It's not like I didn't know what it was like. Dad taught me how to use a knife and how to properly hold a weapon, and Mom gave me lessons in severing body parts. Both of them wanted me to follow through with the urge when it inevitably hit me. I wanted to fit in. When I started middle school, our neighbors were caught killing and cannibalizing their children, turning them into bone broth. I knew both of the kids, Clay and Clara. I played with them in their yard and ate cookies with them. Clara told me she wanted to be a nurse when she grew up, and Clay used to tug on my pigtails to get my attention. They were like siblings to me. No matter what my parents said or my teachers, my gut still twisted at the thought of my neighbors doing something like that. Days after the cops arrived, I saw Miss Jensen watering her plants, but when I looked closer, there was no water. She was just holding an empty hose over her prize roses. I stood on my tippy toes, peering over our fence. Mrs. Jensen? I'm okay, Ellie. Her voice didn't sound okay. Are you sure? I asked. I pointed at the hose grasped in her hand. You forgot to turn your water on. I know. Miss Jensen. I took a deep breath before I could stop myself. Did you like killing Clay and Clara? Why, yes, she hummed. Of course I did. I nodded. But didn't you love them? She didn't reply for a moment before seemingly snapping out of it and turning to me with a bright smile. Too many teeth. That was the first time I started to question the urge. It was supposed to make you feel good, acting like a relief. A weight lifted from your chest. Killing another human being was exactly what the people in our town needed. But what about killing their families and children? Did it really make them feel good? Looking at my neighbor, I couldn't see the joy my mom described. In fact, I couldn't see anything. Her expression was the kind of blank that scared me. It was oblivion staring back, stripped of real human emotion. Mrs. Jensen's smile stretched across her lips like she could sense my discomfort. I noticed she had yet to clean her hands. Mrs. Jensen's fingernails were still stained a scary shade of red. Instead of replying, the woman moved towards my fence in slow, stumbling strides. She was dragging herself. Like moving caused her pain, agony. I couldn't understand. It was exactly what my mother had insisted didn't exist when killing. Pain. Humanity. All the adults told us we would not feel those things when killing. We wouldn't feel regret or contempt. We would just feel good. It was a release, like cold water coming over us. We would never feel better in our lives than when we were killing, and our first would be something special. When Mrs. Jensen's fingers, still slick with her children's blood, wrapped around the wooden fence, I found myself paralyzed. Her manic grin twisted and contorted into a silent wail, and once vacant eyes popped open like she was seeing me for the very first time. "I want to go home," she whispered, squeezing the wooden fence until her own fingers were bleeding. "Can you tell them to let me go home? I would like to see my children right now. Do you hear me?" Mrs. Jensen wasn't looking at me. Instead, her gaze was glued to thin air. She was crying, screaming at something only she could see. And for a moment, I wondered if ghosts were real. I twisted around to see if there were any ghosts, specifically the ones of her children. But there was nothing, just fall leaves spiraling in the air in pretty waves. "Mrs. Jensen's sick," Mom told me once. I was sitting at dinner table eating melted ice cream. It tasted like barf running down my throat. I didn't see Mrs. Jensen after that. Well, I did. She looked different, however. Not freakishly different, though. I did notice her hair color had changed. I remember it being a deep shade of brown, and when my neighbor returned with an even whiter smile, it was more of a blondish white. When I questioned this, Mom told me it was a makeover. The urge affected people in many ways, and with Mrs. Jensen, after having her come down, she had decided on a change. Mom's words were supposed to be reassuring, adding that there was no reason to be scared of the urge. But I didn't want to be like Mrs. Jensen and have a mental breakdown over my killing. I wanted to be like Mom and have a glass of wine and laugh over the sensation of taking a life. Mrs. Jensen was my first real glimpse into the negativity of killing. Dying, for example, wasn't feared. From a young age, we had been taught that it was a vital part of life, and dying meant finding peace. When I first started high school, I expected killing to happen. Puberty was when the urge finally fully blossomed. Weapons were allowed, but only outside of classes. In other words, under no circumstances must we kill each other in class. But the hallways were a free-for-all. I saw attempts during my freshman year, but no real killing. Annalise Duval was infamously known as the junior girl who rejected the urge and was thrown out of school. Struck with a stomach flu on the day of her attempted killing, I only knew of the story from word of mouth. Apparently, the girl had attempted to kill her mother at home, failed, and then bounded into school screaming about laughter in the walls and people whispering in her head. Obviously, my classmates was labeled insane, and judging from her nosebleed, the girl's body had ultimately rejected the urge, and her brain was going haywire. Nosebleeds were a common side effect. I heard stories from kids saying there was blood everywhere, all over her hands and face, smeared under her chin. She had been screaming for help, but nobody dared go near her, like rejection was contagious. Annalise survived, just. I still saw her on my daily bike ride to school. She was always sitting cross-legged in front of the forest with her eyes closed, like she was praying. The rumor was, after being thrown out by her parents, the girl wandered around aimlessly, muttering about whispering people and laughter in her head. It was obvious her rejection had seriously affected her mental state, but I did feel sorry for her. On my 14th birthday, I confused a swimming stomach and cramps for the urge, which turned out to be my first period. I remember biking my way home, witnessing a man cut off another guy's head with an axe. It's funny, I thought. I would be desensitized to seeing human remains. I saw the passion in the man's face as he swung the axe, digging in real hard, chopping right through bone and not stopping, even when his intense red splattered his face and clothes. He didn't stop until the head hit the ground, and that sent my stomach creeping into my throat. Then it was the vacancy in his eyes, the twitching smile as he held the axe like a prize. Part of me wanted to stay to see if he had another similar reaction to Mrs. Jensen. I wanted to know if he regretted what he had done. But once I met his gaze and his grin widened, the toe of his boot kicking the guy's motionless body, I turned away and pedaled faster, my eyes starting to water. It wasn't long before my lunch was inching its way up my throat, and I was abandoning my bike on the side of the road, choking up undigested mac and cheese onto the steaming tarmac. I didn't tell Mom about the man, and more importantly, about my odd reaction to his killing. I wasn't supposed to feel sick to my stomach. Murder was normal. I wasn't going to get in trouble for it, so why did seeing it make me sick? I had been taught as a little kid that visceral reactions were normal, and it was okay to be scared of killing a murder. However, what our brains told us was right wasn't always the truth. Our teacher held up a teddy bear and stabbed into its stuffing with a carving knife. We all cried out until the teacher told us that the bear didn't care about dying. In fact, it was ready to find peace and it didn't hurt him. In other words, we had ignored what our minds told us was bad. Mom told me I would definitely start having conflicting feelings before my first killing, but that it was nothing to worry about. I did worry, though. I started to wonder if I was going to become the next Annalise Duval. Maybe the two of us would become friends, sharing our delusions together. My 17th birthday came and went, and still no sign of the urge. I noticed Mom was starting to grow impatient. She had a routine of coming to check my temperature every morning regardless of whether I felt sick or not. "How are you feeling?" I couldn't help but notice Mom's smile was fake. She dumped my breakfast on a tray in front of me, and when I risked nibbling on a slice of toast, she dropped the bombshell. "Ellie, you are almost 18 years old," she said. I noticed her hands were clenched into fists. "Do you feel anything?" I considered lying, though then I would have to kill someone, and without the urge, I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to do that. "I don't know," I answered honestly, propping myself up on my pillows. "Most of the kids in my class," she cut me off with her frustrated hiss. "Yes, I know. They have all killed someone and you haven't." Her eyes narrowed. "People are starting to notice, Ellie." She spoke through a smile that was definitely a grimace. "And when people start to notice, they get suspicious. I've been on the phone with 3 different doctors this morning, and all of them want to book you in for an MRI just to make sure things are normal." "MRI?" I almost choked on the apple I had been chewing. "Yes," Mom sighed. "We can't ignore the things that aren't abnormal. You are 17 years old and you haven't had one urge to kill. The minimum for your age is 1 kill." She said, "Minimum, Ellie. You haven't killed anyone, and when I bring it up, you change the subject." I changed the subject because she started asking if I wanted to practice. I wasn't sure what practice meant, but from the slightly manic look in her eye, my mom wasn't talking about dolls or teddy bears. It was normal to practice killing. There were even people who volunteered to be targets at the local scrapyard. Most of them were old people. Joey Cunningham started training to kill when he was 12 years old. 5 years on, Joey had accumulated a total of 14 kills. He never failed to remind everyone in almost every class I could taste the apple growing sour in the back of my mouth. Mom was just trying to help, and it's not like I was doing this intentionally. The idea of going to a scrapyard and killing people, even if they gave me permission to, wasn't appealing in the slightest. "I'm okay," I said, and when Mom's eyes darkened, I followed that up with, I have spare time after class, so... I meant to finish with maybe, but the word tangled in my mouth when I took a chunk out of the apple and pain struck. Throbbing pain, which was enough to send my brain spinning off its axis. For a moment, my vision feathered, and I was left blinking at my mother, who had become more silhouette than real person. I was aware of the apple dropping out of my hand, but I couldn't think straight. The pain came in waves, exploding in my mouth. When I was sure I could move without my head spinning, I slammed my hand over my mouth instinctively to nurse the pain. Except that just made it worse. Fuck. Had I chipped a tooth? Blinking through blurry vision, I knew my mom was there, but so was something else. As if my reality was splintering open, another seeping through. I suddenly had no idea where I was, and a familiar feeling of fear started to creep its way up my spine. The thing was, though, I knew exactly where I was. I had known this town, this house, my whole life. So that feeling of fear didn't make sense. The more I mulled the thought over in my mind, however, pain striking like lightning bolts blossoming was something. It both didn't make sense, and yet it did. In the deep crevices of my mind, that feeling was familiar, and I had felt it before. No matter how hard I squinted, though, I couldn't make it out. When I squinted again, a sudden shrink of noise rattled in my skull, and it took me a disorienting moment to realize that what I could hear was laughter. Hysterical laughter, which seemed to grow louder and louder, encompassing my thoughts until it was deafening. Not just that. The walls were swimming, flashing in and out of existence before seemingly stabilizing themselves. I blinked. Was I losing my mind? Maybe this was a side effect of rejecting the urge. "Ellie?" Mom's voice cut through the phantom laughter, which faded, and I blinked rapidly. "Sweetie, are you okay?" "Yeah." The word was in my mouth before the thought could cross my mind. I shook my head, swallowing. "Yeah, I'm fine." She nodded, though her expression darkened. Scrutinizing, I knew she couldn't wait to get me under an MRI. "All right, finish your breakfast. School starts in an hour." Mom stopped at the threshold. "I really do think practicing killing will help a lot." She left, and I rolled my eyes, mimicking her. I flinched when another wave of laughter slammed into my ears. Faded, but very much there. Definitely not a figment of my imagination. Checking in my bedroom mirror, I didn't have a loose tooth. Even thinking that, though, panic started to curl in the root of my gut. My brain wouldn't shut up on my way to school. My gut was twisting and turning, trying to projectile that meager slice of toast. Annalise Duval had complained of a loose tooth before she rejected the urge. Was that what was going to happen to me? Was it all because of that stupid apple? At school, I was surprised to be cornered by a classmate. I had said maybe 5 words to in our combined time at Briarwood High. Kaz Isaacs was one of the first kids in my class to be hit with the urge, and he almost ended up like Annalise Duval. I don't even think it was the urge. I think he was driven to kill through emotions. like so many adults had tried to tell us wasn't real. Kaz was a confusing case where a teenager had actually blossomed early, or not at all, and struck with his own intent. Kaz didn't need the urge. Halfway through math class 2 years prior, I was daydreaming about the rain. It rarely rained in Brightwood. Every day was picturesque. But I did remember rain. I knew what it felt like hitting my face, dropping into my open mouth and filling my cupped hands. I remember the sensation on it, soaking my clothes and gluing my hair to the back of my neck. When I asked Mom if it was ever going to rain, though, she got a funny look on her face. Sweetie, it doesn't rain in Brightwood. It never rained. So where had I jumped into puddles? My gaze was fixed on the window pane, trying to imagine what a raindrop looked like sliding down the glass, when Kaz Isaacs let out an exaggerated sigh behind me. In front of him, Jessica Pollux had been tapping her pen on her desk. At first it wasn't annoying, but then she kept doing it. Tap, tap, tippity tap. And then it became annoying. I could tell it was annoying because Kaz politely asked 3 times to stop making noise. Jessica, stop, he groaned, half asleep in his arms. When she continued, his tone hardened. Can you stop doing that? She ignored him, if anything, tapped louder. I'd grown up knowing that the urge came without warning, motive, or reason. It happened whether you liked it or not. Kaz was different. His case was rare. This time, he did have a motive. And despite what we were taught, that killing didn't require a reason and wasn't driven by negative emotion. Kaz was driven by anger. This time I saw it happen clearly. When I caught movement out of the corner of my eye, I twisted around the rest of the class to see Kaz halfway off his chair, his fingers wrapped around a knife. He was already smiling, already thrilled with the idea of killing. The urge had hit him. Until that moment, he was a quiet kid who kept to himself. Jessica knew instantly what he was going to do, even without turning around. Like an animal, Kaz already had a tight hold of her ponytail and yanked her back. Though, in fight or flight, the girl was screaming and flailing. She didn't want to die, I thought. Was that normal? Mom always insisted that if it was our time, it was our time. If someone attacked us, even family members, we were to accept it. I caught the moment her elbow knocked into Kaz's mouth just as he drove the blade into her skull. Until then, Kaz had been consumed by a euphoric frenzy, intoxicated by the dark thrill of killing. It was as if the idea of ending a life had briefly elevated him to a state of pure euphoria. Growing up, Mom's stories spoke of finding a twisted pleasure in murder, and for a moment, seeing that look in my classmates' eyes, I understood why she described killing like a rush. It was a lunacy I didn't understand, complete unbridled insanity sending shivers down my spine. This was exactly what Mom was talking about. She described it like floating on a cloud, lukewarm water pooling underneath her feet. But just as abruptly as it had enveloped him, that otherworldly glow faded from Kaz's eyes. He crumpled to his knees, one hand clamped over his mouth, the knife slipping from his grasp. That's enough, our teacher announced. Kaz, go and clean yourself up. When he didn't respond, she snapped at him. Mr. Isaacs! Then he did, his gaze flicking to his blood-slicked hands. Huh? He seemed like he was on another planet, swaying back and forth. There was a moment when I met his half-lit gaze, and he slowly inclined his head like he was confused, scared. When Kaz lifted his head, I saw thick beads of red trickling down his chin, pooling down his fingers. It was the same look I had seen on Mrs. Jensen's face. Kaz blinked again before noticing the blood. Fuck, he whimpered, his voice muffled. His eyes, filled with panic, flickered wildly. Without another word, he scrambled to his feet, stumbling towards the classroom door. When I asked him what had happened the next day, he explained it was just an abnormal reaction and that he was fine. But Kaz's words were strange. He wasn't even looking at me, and his smile was far too big. He got his first kill though, so that gave him bragging rights as the first sophomore to come of age. Kaz Isaacs and Annalise Duval both had similar experiences. One of them had clearly lost their mind while the others seemingly avoided it. And speaking of Kaz, it wasn't the norm for him to be talking to me at school. But there he was, blocking my way into the classroom. Hey, he quickly sidestepped in front of me when I tried pushing him out of the way. There had been a time a year before when I considered asking him to prom. He was a reasonably attractive guy with reddish dark hair that curled slightly as it peeked out from under a well-worn baseball cap. A crooked smile that was never genuine, always leaning more towards irony. But then I remembered what he did to Jessica. And I remembered the sound of his knife slicing through skin, cartilage, and bone. And despite her cries and her animalistic wails for him to stop, he kept going, driving it further and further into her skull. I couldn't look him in the eye after that. Kaz inclined his head. Can we talk? No. My mouth was still sore, and I was questioning my sanity, so speaking to Kaz wasn't really on my to-do list that morning. Kaz didn't move, sticking an arm out so I couldn't get past him. Do you have a toothache by any chance? To emphasize his words, he stuck his finger in his mouth, dragging his index finger across his upper incisors. Like a bad toothache, his voice was muffled by his finger. Kaz leaned forward, arching a brow. You do, don't you? Right now? You feel like your whole mouth is on fire and yet you can't detect any wobblies? The guy's words sent a sliver of ice tingling down my spine. He was right. I hadn't felt right since biting into that apple. When I didn't say anything, his lip twitched into a scowl. All right, you don't want to talk. He raised 2 fingers in a salute. Suit yourself. What do you mean? I asked, mostly to humor him. He shrugged. Maybe wait a few days, then come talk to me, all right? Kaz's words didn't really hit me until several days later. I woke up with a throbbing mouth, knelt over the corpse of my mother. The urge had finally come. It was something I had been anticipating and fearing my whole life. Terrified I wouldn't get it and end up ostracized by my loved ones. But when I saw my mom's body, and the vague memory of plunging a kitchen knife into her chest hit me, I didn't feel happy or relieved. I felt like I had done something bad, which was the wrong thing to think. Killing was good. The words echoed in my mind. Killing was our way of release. How could I think that when there was a knife clutched between my fingers? The weapon that had killed her hurt her. How was this supposed to make me feel good? My mother's eyes were closed, peaceful, like she had accepted her death. The teeth of the blade dipped deep, dark red, and I knew I should have felt something. Joy or happiness, except all I felt was empty and numb and fucking wrong. Alone. I felt despair in its purest form, which began to chew me up from the insides as I lulled from my foggy thoughts. I wasn't supposed to scream. I wasn't supposed to cry. But my eyes were stinging, and it felt like I had been suffocated. I saw flashes in quick succession. A room bumbling with moving silhouettes and the smell of coffee. Mom never let me try coffee, and I was sure we never had it in the house. So, how did I know the feeling of it running down my throat? Just like in my bedroom, the walls started to swim. This time, I jumped to my feet and leapt over my mom's corpse, slamming my hands into them. They were real. Almost as if on cue, there it was again, laughing. Loud shrieks of hysterical laughter thrumming in time with the dull pain pounding in my back tooth. Blinking through an intense fog, choking my mind, my first coherent thought was that yes, Kaz was right. I did have a loose tooth. And when I was sure of that, I was stuffing my bloody fingers inside my mouth trying to find it. I grabbed the knife feverishly. My first thought to cut it out. When there was a sudden knock at the front door. Slipping barefoot on the blood pooling across our kitchen floor, I struggled to get to the door without throwing up my insides. Annalise Duval was standing on my doorstep. I had seen her in odd assortments of clothes, but this one was definitely eye-catching. The girl was wearing a wedding dress that hung off her, the veil barely clinging to the mess of raggled. Hi, Afior. Sorry, I was reading really into this. Also, thank you, Ruger. I'm gonna sip of water real quick. I wasn't expecting the story to be like this, Saucy's lady. It's got me hooked. It's good. I do like it. I'm chilling, waiting until 11:34. That is very specific. Bed raggled is an interesting word. Is it boring? No, I like it. I love like psychological horror like this. This is like my type of shit, dude. No, I love this, Saucy. Thank you so much. I honestly, I didn't read this before I started like to read it on stream, so this is my first time reading it with you guys, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude, it's crazy. When I saw the title, I thought it was just gonna be like a little true crime thingamabob, but no, I like this. All right, where was I? Okay, bed raggled curls. She never brushed. Okay, let me get in character again. Back to story. I'm locked in. Okay. Here we go. Blinking at me through straggly blonde hair, she almost resembled an angel. The dress itself was filthy, blood and dirt smeared down the corset, the skirt torn up. Hello, Ellie. The girl lifted a hand in a wave. Her smile wasn't crazed like my classmates had described. Instead, it was sad. Annalise's gaze found my hands slick with my mother's blood, but barely seemed phased. Do you want to see the wall, people? Until then, I had ignored her ramblings, but when I started hearing the laughing, wall people didn't sound so crazy after all. I nodded. Can you hear the laughing? I asked. Sometimes. She twirled in a dress. That's how it started for me, laughing. I heard a lot of laughing, and then I found the wall people. I winced when she came close, so close, almost suffocating me. Nobody believes me, and it's sad. I'm just trying to tell people about the wall people, but they label me as crazy. They say something went wrong in my head. Annalise stuck 2 fingers to her temple and pulled the imaginary trigger, her eyes rolling back like she was mimicking her own death. I'm not the one who's wrong. I know about the wall people and the laughing. I know why. Oh, this is her. I'm not the one who's wrong. Wait, this is still Annalise, huh? Yeah, it is. I'm not the one who's wrong. I know about the wall people and the laughing. I know why I murdered my mom. Annalise, I said calmly. Can you tell me what you mean? Hmm? Her eyes were partially vacant. The one silver sliver of coherence quickly faded away. Instead of speaking, I took her arm gently and pulled her down my driveway. Can you show me what you found? Annalise danced ahead of me, tripping in her wedding dress as she cocked her head. Did you kill your mother too? Her lips twitched. That's funny. According to the wall people, you're not supposed to kill someone until the end of season 3. The girl blinked, giggling, and I forced myself to run after her. Wow, she was fast. Even in a wedding dress, Annalise leapt across the sidewalk, twisting and twirling around like she was in her own world. Before she landed in front of me, her expression almost looked sane. I wonder which season it will be. Will it be summer, maybe fall, or winter? I guess it's not up to you, is it? It's up to the urge. Laughing again, the girl grabbed my hand, her fingernails biting into my skin. I glimpsed a single drop of red run from her nose, which she quickly wiped with the sleeve of her dress, leaving a scarlet smear. Let's go and see the wall people, Ellie, she hummed. As her footsteps grew more stumbled, blood ran down her chin, spotting the sidewalk. I don't know if coherency ever truly hit Annalise Duval, but knowing she was bleeding, her steps grew quicker, more frenzied. I quickened my own pace. Your nose was all I could say. Annalise nodded with a sad smile. I know, she said. Don't worry, it will stop when I shut up. Her smile widened. But what if I don't shut up? What if I show you the wall people? To my surprise, she leapt forward and flung out her arms, tipping her head back and yelling at the sky. What if I don't shut up? Annalise laughed. What are the wall people going to do, huh? Are you going to explode my brain? When people started to come out of their homes to see what was going on, I dragged her into a run. Are you insane? I hissed. Maybe. Annalise seemed to be floating between awareness and whatever the fuck the urge had done to her. Don't worry, they're just peeking. What? The girl had the attention span of a rock. Her gaze went to the sky. They're going to turn the sun off, so I can't show you. Her words meant nothing to me, but until the clouds started to darken, just like Annalise had predicted, the sky began to get dark. Knowing that somehow this supposedly crazy girl knew when things were going to happen only quickened my steps into a run. Hey! Halfway down the street, Kaz Isaacs was riding his bike towards us, which I found odd. Kaz didn't own a bike. He rode the bus to school. Ellie! Waving at me with one hand and grasping the handlebars with the other. Kaz pedaled faster. Yo, do you want to hang out? Peeking, Annalise said under her breath. Ignoring Kaz, I nodded at Annalise to keep going, though the boy didn't give up. We twisted... We what? We twisted around, and he caught up easily, skidding along the edge of the sidewalk. When he came to an abrupt stop in front of us, his gaze flicked to Annalise. He raised a brow. Shouldn't you be praying in the forest? The girl recoiled like a cat, hissing, peeking. Kaz shot me a look. Of all the people you could have made friends with, you chose Annalise Duval. His eyes softened when I ignored him and pulled the girl further down the road. Kaz slowly followed on his bike. Where are you going anyway? Isn't it late? It was 4 p.m. I decided to humor him. We're going to see the wall people. You're kidding. Do I sound like I'm kidding? I turned my attention to him. You asked me if I had a toothache, right? His expression crumpled. I did? I noticed Annalise was clingier with him around, sticking to my side. Every time he moved, she flinched, tightening her grip on my arm. The girl was leading us into the forest, and I swore the closer we got to the clearing, the more townspeople were popping up out of nowhere. An old woman greeted us, followed by a man with a dog, and then a group of kids from school. Annalise entangled her fingers in mine, pulling me through the clearing. Kaz followed hesitantly, biking over rough ground. Once again, I think this is a bad idea, he said in a sing-song voice. We should go back. When it was too dangerous for his bike, he abandoned it and joined at my side. Ellie, this girl's insane, Kaz hissed. What are you even doing? What is this going to accomplish except potentially getting lost? I want to know if she's telling the truth, I murmured back. He scoffed. Telling the truth? Look at this place. He spread his arms, gesturing to the rapidly darkening forest. There's nothing here. No. Annalise ran ahead, staggering over the tricky ground. No, it's right over here. She was still fighting a nosebleed, and her words were starting to slur. The girl twisted to Kaz. You're peeking, she spat, striding over to him when they were face to face. Stop peeking, she said, her fingers delving under her wedding skirt, where she pulled out a knife and pressed it to his throat. If you peek again, I will cut you open. Kaz nodded. Got it, Blondie, no peeking. Annalise didn't move for a second, her hands holding the knife trembling. You're not gonna tell me I'm crazy again, she whispered. You're not crazy, Kaz said dryly. Say it again. You're not crazy, he yelped, and when she applied pressure to the blade. Can you stop swinging that around? Jeez. Annalise shot me a grin, and it took me a second for me to realize Kaz was scared of the knife. He was scared of dying, which meant, whether he liked it or not, the boy had in fact not gone through with the urge. I thought the girl was going to slash Kaz's throat open in delight, but instead, she looped her arm in his like they were suddenly best friends. Come on, Ellie, she danced forward, pulling the boy with her. We're close. I wasn't sure about that, but what we were, however, was lost. When the three of us came to a stop, it was pitch black, and I was struggling to see in front of me. Annalise, however, walked straight over to thin air and gestured to it with a grin. Ta-da! Sputtering through pooling red, she let out a laugh. See? Kaz, who was still uncomfortably pressed to her no matter how hard he strained to get away, shot me a look I could barely make out. I'm sorry, what did I say? That we were going to get lost? That Annalise is certifiably crazy and this is probably going to kill us? At first I thought I really was crazy. Maybe Annalise's condition was contagious. I could hear it again, laughing. But this time, it was coming from exactly where Annalise was pointing. When the girl slammed her hand into thin air, there was a loud clanging noise that sounded like metal. Slowly, I made my way towards it, and when my hands touched sleek metal, what felt like the corners of a door, more pain struck my upper and scissors. Holy shit, Kaz was pressing himself against the door, then slamming his fist into it. The crazy bitch was right. His words hung in my thoughts on a constant cycle as we delved into what should have been a forest. After all, we had been standing in the middle of nowhere. The laughter was deafening when I stepped over the threshold, and I had to slap my hands over my ears to block it out. Through the invisible door, however, was exactly what Annalise had described. Wall people. All around us were television screens, and on those screens were people. Faces. They were not part of the laughter. The laughter was mechanical and wrong, rooted deep inside my skull. The faces stared down at us were men and women, some teens and even younger children. Annalise and Kaz were next to me, their heads tipped back, gazes glued to the screens. Not the ones I was looking at, the ones on the tiny computer monitors. When I finally tore my eyes from our audience, I began to see what made Kaz stiffen up next to me. One screen in particular showed his face. He was younger, maybe a year or two. No, I thought. Something slimy creeping at my throat. It was from when he had killed that girl. His hands clasped in his laps were still stained and slick with Jessica Pollock's blood. The Kaz on the screen was far more relaxed. casually leaning back with his feet propped up on the table. His hair was shorter, and his clothes were more formal than what I was used to seeing him in. I usually saw him in jeans and hoodies, but this Kaz wore a crisp white collared shirt. Something hung around his neck, a thin strip of black fabric with a shiny card at the end, reminding me of some kind of badge. Why exactly have you signed up for this program? A man's voice crackled off screen. Duh, Kaz held up his scarlet hands, a grin twisting on his lips. His arrogant smile twisted my gut. So I can get my darkroom rep back. He leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. That is going to happen, right? I don't do this shit for free, and I've got 1 million followers to impress, man. Darkroom loves me. Kaz scoffed, crossing one left over the other. Even if I did go too far that one time, which wasn't even my fault. What are you guys, fucking Twitch? You are correct, the man said. Darkroom does benefit from its influencers. Our program aims to help satisfy certain needs by broadcasting them right here. He paused. You have killed 5 people before signing up for the Darkroom, correct? Your parents and brother. Kaz's lips pricked into a smile. I gutted them just to see what was inside. But of course, my TikTok gotten taken down by all the freaks in the comments trying to cancel me. He rolled his eyes. They worship you, call you a god, swear they'll do anything for you, but then fuck you. And then fuck you. I flinched when he leaned forward, his gaze penetrating the camera. This guy knew exactly how to act in front of one. The slight incline of his head, trying to get the best angle. Can I tell you something? Oh. Can I tell you something? Oh, no, this is him. Can I tell you something? Yes, of course, young man. Have you ever been called a god? Because it's a rush, he laughed. I made stupid videos and these people worshipped me. They loved me. Kaz clucked his tongue. But the moment I show them my real self, they turn on me and try to end my career. He leaned back in his chair with a sigh, glancing at the camera. And then I found you guys, who pay me to be my real, authentic self. Now, how could I decline an offer like that? And the man cleared his throat. You will keep killing? We are aware the initial implant impacted your brain quite badly. In the subdued state, you will keep killing, and the so-called urge says, however, in reality, we will be sending signals to your brain which will make you commit murder. All right, I'll do it. Are you sure? We couldn't help notice during your first kill you seemed to, well, react in a way we haven't seen before. It's possible there could be potential fault. He cocked his head like a puppet string cut from strings. Did the comments like it? Well, yes. Good. Kaz held out his arm. Do it again, and do it right this time. As long as I'm getting 40K every appearance, I'm good. You can slice my brain up all you want. I'm getting paid in followers, so... His gaze found the camera. What are you waiting for? When the screen went black, then flickered to a bird's eye view, and finally a close-up of my house, I felt my legs give away. Hi, Booba! Oh, it is scary. Yeah, we're reading spooky stories. This one's a really good one. As if on impulse, I prodded at my mouth and felt for the loose tooth. That, Kaz spoke up, his voice a breathy whisper. His eyes still glued to the screen, confusion crumpling his expression. That wasn't me. Well, it was me, but I don't remember that. To my surprise, he turned to me. I saw real fear in his eyes. Ellie, he gritted out, that is not me. Instead of answering him, I turned away when alarm bells started ringing, and the room was suddenly awash in flashing red light. Peeking! Annalise squeaked, hiding behind me. Ignoring her, I focused on Kaz, or whoever the hell he was. I slammed the door shut, throwing myself against it. You need to knock my tooth out, I told him. Now. Holy shit! That was only part 1? This was long. Time for part 2. Alright, let me pull up part 2 that she sent me as well. That was so good, Saucy! I want to read the rest. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying my mediocre voice acting. How are you, Boba? I hope you are having a great night. Let me give you a little shouty shout. Also, let me give Ruger a shout. I don't think we shouted Ruger out. I like the voice you chose for Annalise. Oh, her crazy voice. Sassy. It's just... yeah. You finished planning your birthday trip? Happy birthday! Oh my gosh! You're probably in ads right now. I don't know if you can... I'm just punched my mic. I'm sorry. Happy B-Day! I also can't type. I'm a spooky baby. Let's go. I'm also a spooky baby. My birthday's on the 26th. No ads yet. Oh, okay. Good, good, good. When's your birthday, Booba? Did I call you Booba? I meant to say Boba. Happy birthday, Boba. You're actually on Halloween. That's so cool. How is it to live my dreams? Yes, I'm Booba's. Dash my Booba. You're the spookiest baby. She is. I love that. I knew one girl who was born on Halloween one time when I was growing up. It's pretty good. All right. Let me get this up. I need to work on my breath control. I didn't choose a spooky life. It chose me. I love that. 1 more hour and 15 minutes until Huntrix Live. Huntrix Live! Oh my god. I want to watch that. Should we watch that together, chat? I ran out of breath. Yes. Oh, okay. Where at? Athior. Let me give you a shout out as well. Like on YouTube or something, or what? That way I know where to go. Okay. Oh, the Tonight Show. Oh, okay, okay. I'll see if I can find it online. YouTube TV. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Because it's live TV. Got it, got it, got it. You said an hour and 15 minutes, so at 12:30 my time. All right, let's do part 2 then. My town in Brightwood, where murder was legal, was slowly crumbling around me. The sound piercing my skull, the love child of a dentist drill and a car alarm was not helping. Alarms, they were coming. Whoever had taken Annalise and turned into a hollow shell was coming for us. That gave me just enough incentive to move. 1 step, then 2. I was backing away, my tooth throbbing in time with the alarm slicing into my ears. The scream still flickered before us. The so-called wall people, our apparent audience. But how long had they been watching? Ellie. Kaz's voice was like an ocean wave, drowned out by the alarms. At first it was whimsical, as if I were dreaming, but it did not stay a murmur, like he, too, was unraveling. Kaz's voice grew progressively more hysterical. Ellie! The boy stood by my side, his wide eyes locked on the screen displaying a younger version of himself, drenched in his classmates' blood, a grin splitting his lips. I think that was what broke me. Not the wall people staring down, a muted collection of faces monitoring our every move, but the terrifying possibility that, like Kaz, I had a version of myself I did not know existed. My finger went to my mouth, searching for the wobbly tooth, but every touch sent electroshocks racing through my body, threatening to drop me to my knees. Even in the fog of panic, I had to piece a few things together before I completely broke. Not because of my mother's death or the revelation that hundreds or even thousands of eyes were on our town, no. It was becoming increasingly clear that whatever was inside my tooth was behind this unraveling. That's not me, Kaz finally said, his voice shaky, unsure. The Kaz on the screen terrified me. His eyes, a whole new blend of darkness, purged of humanity. I had seen his face when he killed previously, but this was a whole new level, an inhuman glimmer twisting his expression. I wanted to know what his younger self had meant by fans. Was he in some kind of cult? Hey! Oh, hey! The real Kaz's cry snapped me out of it, and he grasped my arm, pulling me to face him. I blinked, struggling to make sense of what was going on. The town I had known my whole life was coming apart by the seams, and this building was at the center of it. All at once, the alarms were back, screaming in symphony with Annalise's cries. The girl was still rocking back and forth, screaming about the wall people who stared down at her in amusement. Kaz was nose to nose with me, his sharp exhalations of breath tickling my cheeks. Wide eyes illuminated in a dull red glow. Ellie, he spoke in a sing-song. They're fucking with us. That psychopath wasn't me. Hit me, I said. You need to knock my back tooth out right now. He surprised me with a nervous laugh, before realizing I wasn't joining in. Kaz cocked his head. Wait, are you serious? I don't care who you are, I spat at him. That was a lie. I did care who he was. I had known him since I was a little kid. Knowing there was a different him in a world that wasn't Brightwood was sending my brain into a meltdown. I just need you to knock my tooth out. Kaz raised a brow. We're being hunted down by our apparent invisible overlords, and you want me to knock you out? They'd be here by now, I said. They're watching us. Kaz shot a panicked look at the wall people. His gaze strayed towards his younger self, still flickering on a monitor. That is definitely unnerving, he said under his breath. Don't trust him, Annalise mumbled into her lap. You can't trust him, Millie. He's one of them. He's part of the seasons. Kaz sputtered out a laugh. I'm sorry, what? Annalise lifted her head from her knees. He's a peeker, she sobbed, narrowing her eyes. Kaz Isaacs. Oh. How would she sound? Kaz Isaacs. I don't know. Kaz Isaacs has always been a peeker. Kaz let out a frustrated groan, twisting around to face her. I told you I'm not a whatever the fuck you said. I'm not a peeker, okay? You're insane. He gestured wildly around us in the way he was acting, all strikingly similar to the boy on the screen. This kid loved an audience. Do you seriously think we believe a word coming out of your mouth when you're clearly out of your mind? He groaned, raking his fingernails down his face. Whoever we saw, that wasn't me, all right? It was a clone or a twin, or maybe we're being fucked with, which I'm not falling for, by the way. This time he directed his words to our invisible audience. You guys want us to believe this oldest trick in a book? You want us to believe a girl who's clearly fucking lobotomized? Stop! Italy shrieked, slamming her hands over her ears. When Kaz moved towards her, she shuffled back on her hands and knees. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Annalise, he said stiffly. No, she squeaked. Stay away from me. All right, Kaz held up his hands. I'm not coming near you. Scout's honor, but you need to trust me. He lowered his voice into a murmur. I'm not one of them, Annalise. You don't have to be scared of me, okay? We've known each other ever since we were kids, remember? She cocked her head, and for the first time I saw clarity in her eyes. I always saw you, she whispered. And they brought me here to hurt me. Annalise stuck 2 fingers in her temple, pretending to blow out her brains. She sure likes to do that. Annalise burst into giggles. I know the real you. Because you were always there, she pointed an accusing finger. When they cut into my head and took away my thoughts. Oh. When they cut into my head and took away my thoughts, you were there, weren't you? Peeking, Kaz. She covered her eyes, peeking through a finger. Peekaboo! Annalise slowly got to her feet, her frantic eyes meeting mine. He's not like the other peekers. Kaz Isaacs is the special one. Instead of responding to her, I focus on Kaz. You have to hit me in the face, knock me out. His eyes widened. Wait, like knock you out? Do you want like a countdown? Just do it. I didn't see the punch coming. One moment, I was ready to yell at him again, and the next, his fist crashed into my face. The hit was clumsy, but the pain that exploded in my mouth and head felt like a wildfire had been sparked inside me. Fuck. Just like when I bit into the apple back home, reality began to warp around me. The room fractured into disorienting flashes of light and color. When the laughter struck, pounding into my skull as if it had always been there. As my thoughts spiraled, I couldn't help but wonder if I was part of that laughter. Kaz, Annalise, all of us. All at once. My senses became detached. I could... Huh? Your day was nice and easy? I'm glad you had a good day, pup. All at once. My senses became attached. I could no longer smell the stink of my own body odor clinging to me. Meant to put that in Bean's chat. Wow, you hate me. Tell Beans. So, tell Beans. Wow, you didn't even come by and say hi to me? That's crazy. All at once, my senses became detached. I could no longer smell the stink of my own body odor clinging to me, or taste the blood pooling between my lips. Even the floor was coming apart around me, and I was sinking. I was falling. We should play those nights at Fredbear's. 5 Nights at Freddy's? Question mark? Question mark? I've never played those. I always just thought they were for children. Deep down, I was half aware of Kaz's shadow looming over me. Warm hands grasping my shoulders. Ellie, fuck. Did I hit you too hard? Kaz's voice sounded wrong, fading in and out. The room with the red light was cracking apart, making way for gray skies above me. The memory wasn't mine. It couldn't have been mine. I didn't recognize the busy street I was on, and there were buildings I have never seen before. Something wet spotted my forehead, and then it was dampening my hair. It was in front of me, drenching my face. I was running, splashing through puddles. Rain? But I didn't know the rain, right? The memory was lukewarm, water crashing over me. I was walking through a downpour, ahead of me a radiant light getting closer and closer, and blinking through blurry vision. I forced my legs into a run. I was out of breath. Before my trembling hands found a door handle, stepping into a warm golden glow. Somewhere crowded, somewhere I didn't recognize. Ellie, hey, are you okay? They're coming. So we need to, get out of here, right now. Kaz's yelling was barely a whisper in my brain. I was half aware of warm arms wrapping around me, scooping me into the air. Ellie, we need to go. I can't. Annalise, you need to help me carry her. Just grab her legs, alright? His frustrated cry bounced around my skull. Can you stop fucking calling me that? Grab her legs. No, not her head. Pushing away reality, I focus on a memory. Around me were shadows, blurry faces, and silhouettes dancing between tables and chairs. A bitter aroma filling my nose. Coffee. The smell of crushed coffee beans and freshly baked cookies. I pulled something out of the soaked pocket of my jeans. A strange rectangular device, and peered at the bright screen. It was like a smaller version of the ones displaying the wall people. Then the memory glitched. Like my brain was trying to solve my own life. Like my brain was trying to shove my own life down my throat. I could feel its desperation to suffocate whatever those flashes were. The bustling shadows and the smell of coffee. A stranger splashing through the puddles twisted into what I did know. I saw my younger self. My mother and father handing me a loaded gun. I saw the men who were shot dead in front of me when I was 8. The memory slammed into me like a wave of ice-cold water, and I was aware of something dislodging. I could feel it in the back of my mouth as reality blossomed into fruition. All I could hear was screaming, Kaz and Annalise. Thundering footsteps. I felt rough arms wrap around my waist and yank me to unsteady feet, but I was still lost in someone else's memories. Something was resisting reality, and I was strong, plunging me back into flashes of my life. But between these flashes were razor-sharp glimpses of body hands that weren't mine, bloody hands that weren't mine, intense red diffusing water, and a cry that was not mine. Except I felt her agony as she tightened her fingers around something sharp slicing into her flesh. I felt the release of her pain and shuddering breaths. I was suddenly aware of being dragged back. Violently, I opened my eyes. My head was spinning and my body felt strange, like I was floating. I was back in the room full of well people. Kaz was on his knees with his arms pinned behind his back. Annalise struggling in a scowling woman's arms. He was yelling something, though his words weren't making sense in my head. Instead, I felt my tooth. It was loose, and I could flick it back and forth with my tongue. I didn't get to it, though. Before I could try and force a tooth out myself, which would only require some serious tongue digging, a sharp prick sliced into the back of my neck and I was falling. I stopped thinking for a while, though the flashes didn't stop. With my tooth being loose, they only grew stronger. This time, I wasn't in the rain. Instead, sitting among the shadows and blurry faces, my hands wrapped around a styrofoam cup, always a mocha, with 2 shots of espresso and extra cream. I was idly watching a stray raindrop slide down the window. The device's screen flash, 8:35 p.m. I sipped my coffee, tightening my grip around the cup. The asshole was late. Her gaze caught a figure in the rain, a shadow bounding through the night. They divided through puddles in a dance, hands a pocket, head tipped back, lips parting to catch raindrops in her mouth. The doors opened and the blurry faces slumped in front of me. All I could make out were damp curls sticking out from a hood and a face with no distinct features. The figure was more gross than human, a person reduced to a shadow in my
LXRD
mind.
Cybrat played daily check in less than 3
Thank
from
you for
1
playing your
channel
check-in. But now for kids, it's funny to say sushi. Why? Ain't it? I just see children playing that. I had watched him in the rain outside, practically leaping over puddles, jumping into them for fun. Yet as they came closer, their shadow became less of a pulling silhouette and more of a person causing my gut to twist and turn. Instantly, they reached across the table to shake my hand, and I backed away, my gut twisting. The girl's voice, no, my voice, rang out in the memory. I felt myself recoil. How did you get my number? I should have known. I mean, it was obvious. But it didn't make sense how I could exist in 2 worlds. The blurry face laughed. It was a throw-your-head-back laugh, causing memory me to stiffen up. When I tried to get up, they pulled me back into my seat. The blurry face leaned across his table. Oh, we're playing that game, are we? Answer my question. Tilting their head, they rested their chin on their fists. Why do you think I'm here? There it was. The sound of it sent my thoughts into a whirlwind. Even if that was buried deep, deep down, just like the blurry face in their voice, their name was nothing. It meant nothing. However, judging from my reaction, the name was mine. I had another name in a world where rain fell from the sky and coffee was familiar to me. Before I could delve further, the memory began to unravel, and in the back of my mind, I could feel a foreign presence in my mouth, a narrow finger jabbing at my back and scissors. Stars flashed before my eyes, agony exploded in my skull like something was there, prodding my brain. The memory faded, along with the smell of coffee and the blurry figure. Almost recognizable, but obscured by the presence struggling to reattach my tooth. When I came to, I was only half awake. The world was spinning and I was under a bright, intense light shining down on me. I couldn't move. My body was numb. Something warm trickled down my chin. There was a masked figure looming over me. He bent over, stuck 2 fingers in my mouth, prying it open before I could bite back. "Don't worry, Ellie." The figure pulled back their mask and shot me a flashy smile. "We're gonna get you all fixed up." The sound of a drill noise rose me from fruition, and when I managed to turn my head, the figure held an odd machine between his fingers. It looked like a dentist drill. I knew what one looked like. I had 2 fillings when I was 12 after eating too much candy. The machine in the man's hands, however, looked like it did more than fillings. I managed to shriek when the bed reclined lower, but the figure's eyes were only amused, just like the wall people. "You have a broken tooth," he murmured, inserting a clamp-like device holding my mouth open. It stabbed into my gums, fresh blood running down my throat. When I lurched forward to choke it back up, he forced a pipe-like device into my mouth. I was wide awake when he started drilling, first at the back of my mouth, and then he moved. No longer looming over me, his shadow was instead behind me. He was still drilling, and I couldn't feel pain, just a vague sensation of something sharp stabbing at the back of my head. With the screeching sound of the drill pulverizing both my teeth and my skull, the flashes I had managed to grasp onto were slowly being drained away, like he was picking them apart with his bare hands. The aroma of coffee I thought I knew was suddenly nothing but a vague memory. The rain damp in my hair and falling in front of my eyes, soaking my face when I tilted my head back, was nothing more than a vivid dream. The drilling stopped after a while, and half awake, I knew there were holes in me where they shouldn't be. There was blood sliding down my back of my neck and gushing from my mouth, and all I could do was stare at the light above me and pray the trauma of having my body picked apart would be enough to knock me out. I did sleep, though whatever they were pumping into me wasn't working, or I was rejecting it. I woke up 3 times, and all 3 of those times I met eyes with familiar frantic ones peering down at me. For a long while, drifting in the dark, I was nobody. I wanted to know who she was. The girl who drank coffee and splashed through puddles. To my disdain, when I tried to pry into those flashes I managed to find, there was nothing, just lingering pieces. When I tried to move my tooth with my tongue, it was stubbornly stuck. I tried again and again, but no matter what I did, I couldn't dislodge that stupid thing. Growing bored and with my body unresponsive, I counted the ceiling tiles. Then when I was bored of counting, I closed my eyes and tried to force the memories back into fruition. But they were gone, like they never existed in the first place. All I had was a vague idea of coffee and rain. There was something stuck into my arm and it stung. An IV drip. Whatever they put inside it was doing a good job of keeping me foggy-minded. A voice pierced the silence after a while. I knew who it was. Through feathered vision, I could see her tangled golden hair tied into pigtails. No longer wearing the wedding dress, Annalise's odd choice of clothing had been replaced by a pale blue gown which hung off of her. The girl was bent over me, her hair tickling my face. I could feel her warm breath, but I couldn't respond. "Ellie?" Her voice was like a wave crashing onto the shore, drifting in and out. At some points, I was sure she was there, but others she was fading away. In my drug-drunk brain, I wondered if she was a ghost, or maybe whoever controlled Brightwood had killed her. I could see she was struggling with my restraints, her fingernails slicing into my skin. Okay, maybe not a ghost. Annalise's trembling hands combed through my matted hair, and I had a sudden painful flash of a hand stroking my face, sending electric shocks through me. My body jerked involuntarily, and a sensation returned. An overwhelming fear twisted me into knots. I could feel a stranger's hand brushing my cheek. rough fingers grazing my lips before delving into the back of my mouth. I blinked, and the flash was gone. I could still feel the phantom fingers forcing their way into my mouth until I was choking on the stink of bleach. And and like I was reliving it, a strangled cry clawed from my throat. Annalise's breath tickles my cheeks. "Please, Ellie," she whispered. "I don't want to be alone." Sniffling, the girl leaned over my face and something wet hit my forehead. "Rain?" "Ellie, I don't want you to be turned into a peeker. That's what they do here," she whimpered. "They turn us into peekers." I only had to squint to see the band-aid over the girl's nose being red. Looking closer at her, Annalise was bleeding too. I'm not sure how long she stayed. Could have been seconds or hours. Her cry sliced through me like a banshee's wail. "Is this where they turned me crazy?" Annalise paced my bed, scratching her own face. "Cass, I said crazy," she whispered, breaking down. I felt her weight on my bed. "I didn't want to be Cass Isaac's crazy, so they made my thoughts go away." Her voice swam in and out of my brain at the mercy of the ivy. When 3 orderlies came running in to grab and drag the girl away, I could do nothing but move my finger slightly, then my toe. I don't know if it was the drugs, or maybe I was dreaming, but when I was conscious enough to sit up and prop myself up on the pillows, still blinking through mind fog, Annalise came back. This time she didn't scream or cry out, only standing in front of me with the sanest expression I had ever seen on her face. I noticed there was no blood on her hair, and her hair looked neater, pulled into a strict ponytail. This time, Annalise wore a coral-colored dress. She was smiling before lifting a finger and pressing it to her lips in a shushing motion. There was something in her hand, a rectangular device which perfectly melted into her palm. She pointed it at me directly. "Smile!" "Annalise?" My voice sounded strange, like it was more memory than real. Could have been hours after I saw her, or I saw a drug-induced hallucination. But when I was finally sitting up with enough energy to shimmy out of my restraints and tug out my IV, I knew I had to find her. I could feel her blood still staining my forehead and cheek, drying flaky when I swiped at it. Before I could think about the repercussions of diving out of bed after a significant dental surgery, I threw my legs over the side and jumped up, which immediately sent me off balance. The room I was in smelled of lavender and bleach, which twisted my gut. I knew the smell, but it was much stronger in my memory, more like a suffocating, intoxicating poison filling my mouth. There was one door and no windows. The door was unlocked. I found myself torn between going on the hunt for Annalise or answering the gut-wrenching shriek echoing down the hallway, which was definitely Cass Isaac's. Part of me knew the boy was not to be trusted, considering what was on the monitors in the room with the wall people. However, my legs kept moving, my body forcing me into a stumbling run. Cass was right at the end of the hall, his screams getting progressively more hysterical the closer I got to the door. It was open, with enough room to stick my head through the gap. Kaz was in a similar situation to me, strapped down to a hospital bed, reclined under a bright light shining in his face. His eyes were wide with fright, bloody gauze sticking out of his mouth. Wriggling against the restraints, the boy was crying. I had never seen him cry before. Kaz always had this permanent look of amusement on his face in class, so seeing him crying, fighting against the orderlies trying to hold him down was jarring. It had taken strapping his arms, torso, and his head to the bed to keep him down, and somehow Kaz was still managing to get the upper hand, straining against gloved hands pushing him down. I expected the mass people standing over him to look pissed, but to my surprise they looked worried. I caught looks exchanged between them, one of them holding the same device used to drill into my mouth. I could see why they were worried. Kaz was sweating bad. The blue gown replacing his clothes was practically glued to him. his skin glistening under fluorescent light. He looked younger, more vulnerable. Dark brown curls hanging in wet clumps against his forehead. Half-lidded eyes clouded like something had been injected into his pupils. Kaz himself didn't seem to notice his state. When one of them dared edge towards him and shot in their hands, the boy sprang back against the pillows, lips curling into his snarl. If you touch me with that thing, I swear to fucking God you're dead. I will fucking kill you, do you hear me? He must have had gusto in his tone because a figure backed away, nodding feebly. Kaz's capture was different to mine. While I was treated like a prisoner, the orderlies around him seemed to be working under his command. The man cleared his throat. Sir, to complete the procedure, we must put you under anesthesia. It is a very painful process. What? Kaz blinked rapidly, and when he was caught off guard, a needle was stuck inside his arm and quickly attached to an IV. His eyes widened when he realized, and he tugged it like a child, his mouth opening and closing. Get it out, he whispered. Please. Kaz's cry went from an animalistic growl to a feeble whimper. Another figure appeared. Your tooth has been destroyed, young man. I can see pieces of it in your saliva. There is no need to put on an act. He leaned over Kaz, prodding the boy in his forehead. Unless you are being serious, I know you are prone to playing pranks on townspeople, which your subscribers enjoy. The man's eyebrows twitched. He inspected the boy's face. However, I think you are being sincere, which means you have been poisoned by your own faulty tooth. Kaz's eyes widened. Ellie was right. Correct. The man leaned back, displeasure creasing his voice. We briefed you on it multiple times. You legally consented to its use, even showed enthusiasm. We're worried about you, sir. Your personality has shifted. He studied Kaz as if he were a specimen, stroking a scalpel between his long fingers. Kaz followed the motion with feverish eyes. It's no secret you've been different. You haven't produced the kills outlined in your agreement. In fact, you haven't killed anyone since you were 15. He clucked his tongue. We worry, your fans worry. Sponsors are pulling out. He stepped closer. Did you know Luke Thompson quietly retracted his donation? Even your best friend has abandoned you. Kaz Isaacs is topping the poll to be removed from Darkroom. And what does that do to your reputation? His voice dropped. Where is the spark you had when you murdered your family? Kaz spat. A single globule stuck to the man's face. He said, Haktua! I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't kill my family. I killed Jessica Pollux in 9th grade. That makes more sense, the man sighed as if relieved. Mr. Delacroix, it appears our theories are correct. You have been poisoned. Your tooth is sending signals that have regressed you to your temporary self. That is a problem. He signaled for the bed to recline further. Kaz strained, lunging against the restraints. Temporary self, Kaz grasped. Yes. We liked him at first. You are a wolf in sheep's clothing, perfect for viewers. Darkroom builds a steady audience by letting them watch Brightwood unfold. Your fans want to see you rip the town apart. Instead, what we've been given is pathetic. You had a chance to slice Annalise Duval's throat, and you failed spectacularly. A cold shiver crawled down my spine. My classmate's expression mirrored mine. Kaz let out a raw cry. What are you talking about? Well, to put it simply, Mr. Delacroix. He lunged, the restraint snapping him back. Stop calling me that, he shouted, wrenching at the Velcro, trying to rip out the IV. The masked figures ignored him like they had with me. They set out steel instruments as if preparing for surgery. When screaming did not work, he lashed out with his feet, and 2 pairs of hands pinned him down. What you need to understand, sir, the man said, wrapping a hand around Kaz's arm and slipping a second needle into his vein, his voice low, is that you are dying. If that faulty molar continues to send those signals, it will kill you. Kaz's shriek was muffled by the man's palm. You did that to Annalise. Kaz's voice slurred slightly, blinking rapidly. You fucked with her head, you fucking... His expression twisted, searching for an insult. Asshole. To my surprise, the man's eyes darkened. He really was worried. I think you are mistaken, young man. We did not touch Annalise Duval. You got close, so close. Kaz tried to twist his head around. You, however, Mr. Delacroix? How could you forget your most popular stream? Surely you remember cracking a girl's skull open when she was still conscious. When Kaz spat in his face, he straightened up. Put the kid under, he ordered. Now, I am not losing my top influencer because a fucking faulty tooth turns him into an indecent human being. He softened his tone when Kaz stopped struggling, his body going limp, the drugs beginning to take hold. I watched a bluish fluid fill the plastic tube protruding in his wrist. The man picked up a drill and held it in front of Kaz's flickering eyes, struggling to stay open. You told us you were okay, that it was not hurting you. You lied. His voice grew firm like a father. You lied to everyone who trusted you, your followers, your sponsors. Kaz's eyes fluttered, the bluish liquid draining the fight out of him. He struggles, reduced to weak, half-hearted tugs against the restraints. What are you talking about? The man leaned in close, his voice low and soothing. Just sleep. I will fix everything. When Kaz went under, the man turned to his colleagues. These fucking influencers expect to be paid when they can't even follow a simple instruction. Kaz Isaacs was one of our best. If this is sabotage, they're doing a great job of screwing with one of our prized content creators. The kid can't even remember his real name. When the procedure started, I couldn't look away. The drilling noise began, and I cringed at the sound, like teeth grinding against tiny blades. The man said. In the process of removing the faulty tooth, it's badly damaged. In fact, I'm surprised the boy hasn't been experiencing serious side effects. I'm glad we caught it early. He straightened up. Something was pinched between his thumb and forefinger. See? It's singed on 3 corners. My general observation without a full examination is that we were sending too many signals and overwhelming it, causing significant damage. Another figure nodded grimly. That would explain the behavioral differences. It must have been agony. The poor kid wouldn't have realized it once regression has taken hold. What was that? Who did that? Katie and Nen, you scared me. Gah. That was scary. Super scary. I thought that was part of the video, like the video thing. How are you, Katie and Nen? Let me pull up. Hold on, just give me a second. I'm gonna pull up beans on my phone. That way I'm lurking. I'm lurking. Oh, hold on. I'm lurking here. I can't hear you. I'm muted, by the way. Okay. I'm lurking here. My toes are cold, chat. I should put some socks on, huh? This story is crazy, dude. It's like some Black Mirror shit. Like, yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's Black Mirror shit. Sorry if my chair's all fucking creaky and shit. Oh, the eepee. Put that sheep wool socks on. Ew, sick. Sheep wool is... It's my blanket. Just kidding. I just realized I'm still invisible on Discord. My bad. Okay, where were we? He straightened up. She let out a quiet hiss. Oh, hold on. See, it's singed on. Okay, another figure nodded grimly. I would explain the behavioral differences. It must have been agony, and the poor kid wouldn't have realized it once regression had taken hold. She let out a quiet hiss. Oh, it was a lady. Mr. Delacroix must have been so scared. I don't know why I said it like that. Exactly. The main surgeon, still holding the tooth, nodded. He turned back to Kaz. I will interpolate a new molar. This one should not have problems, and the boy should revert to his original state. Kaz Isaacs is valuable to Brightwood. He tugged off blood-stained gloves and pulled on new ones, pinching Kaz's chin and forcing the unconscious boy to face him. This is your fault for not reporting symptoms. He let the kid's head drop. If the tooth malfunctions again, put him in the red room with the others. I'll release a statement claiming he hit the man's side. Fuck, make it up. I don't know. Say he's taking a break from Darkroom. I'm sure his fans will do some killing of their own and upload it in protest, which will bring a spike in views. After months in the red room, the face of Darkroom will be as good as new, and we can put this behind us. Hey, I'm also lurking. Yeah, thank you for lurking, Beans. I appreciate you. He continued speaking, more to himself than his colleagues, poking around in Kaz's mouth. One of them, a woman this time, turned to the door. Right, and for now? I ducked out of view before risking another peek. The man was drilling again, using a tube to suck up saliva and blood dribbling from the boy's mouth. For now, after surgery, we send him downstairs to undergo some significant personality changes. Viewers want a bad boy to root for. Colleague, too. He sighed. I'm sure a familiar face will help remind him what he is and what he does. Viewers do not want to see what they saw today, a pathetic child with no backbone. Oh, following around the resident crazy girl like a sheep. Once he started screaming, our viewer count dropped to 1 million. That's our lowest in 3 years. He started drilling again and Kaz's body shuddered, his fingers forming a fist before going limp. People want monsters. They want severed body parts and brains leaking on the sidewalk. Kaz Isaacs is too soft. However, his infatuation with Ellie is, well, it's intriguing. Something ice cold again slipped down my spine. Kaz's body jolted again, eyes flickering. We could do classic enemies to lovers. That will bring in viewers. Then, of course, he brutally kills her, reclaiming his darkroom crown. The man emphasized his words by stabbing his scalpel into the kid's mouth. He lifted his head and removed his mask, flashing perfect pearly whites. We've known this kid for years, Phoebe. I doubt he needs electroshock to rattle his brain and tell him to kill. It's rooted inside him, just like all of our Darkroom originals. Before the woman could reply, I was already backing away, catapulting myself into a run. I had to get out. No, my thoughts were feverish. I had to find Annalise. I found her in a room full of townspeople. Mrs. Jensen was among them, but she didn't look like my neighbor anymore. Her skin was almost completely gone. Flesh peeling from a skeletal mouth stretched into a horrific laugh that rattled her frame. Mrs. Jensen's eyes were wide open, staring forward at an oblivion only she could see. The townspeople around her were in various states of decay, and yet they kept laughing and laughing until I pressed my hands over my ears to block them out. Their newest addition was at the very back, and when I saw her, my stomach dropped. The girl was giggling at the screen, her eyes emptier than they had ever been. Annalise's lips were stretched into a cartoonish smile. When I slapped her across the face, when I shook her, screaming at her to wake up, she didn't move. Her body was like a mannequin. I grasped her hand, her skin was wet, slimy. With every laugh, I noticed beads of sharp red slipping from her nose and mouth. This was what I heard in my bedroom when my reality had faltered. It was the noise that attracted me to the forest. I was hearing the sounds of the townspeople laughing themselves to death. And when death came, somehow they didn't stop. They kept going until their skin was rotting away. A laugh trapped inside a corpse. I tripped over 3 separate bodies trying to get to Annalise, and they were nothing but shredded flesh. With Annalise, she was only giggling, occasionally spurting out hysterics, spewing bloody saliva, but soon it would be wrecking her body. Grasping onto the girl's shoulders like clinging onto her would snap her out of it. I knelt in front of Annalise Duval and promised I would be back. Then I left her. The last door on the long, winding hallway was surely the way out. But when I was pulling it open, a hand was on my shoulder yanking me back. It was Kaz. Well, it was mostly Kaz. Hey, sup, Ellie? The first thing I noticed was his inability to stand up straight. And the gaping wound in his arm where he too had torn out his IV. Kaz's voice sounded off-kilter, and he was swaying from side to side, struggling to get a proper grasp of my shoulders. He was out of breath, one finger pressed into a piece of gauze hanging out of his mouth. Still startlingly pale and just out of surgery, Kaz was somehow holding his old tooth down. His lips were split into a bloody grin. Rivulets of red beating down his chin. I had no idea how he was standing or coherently talking, because the last I had seen him, the boy was practically brain dead. I found my voice, my gaze flicking to his blood-drenched hospital gown. It's not my blood, he slurred. I don't know whose blood it is. I just woke up and I'm covered in blood. Whose blood? Who knows? He idly flicked his finger, immediately pulling a face. Okay, that's mine. That is definitely my blood. I slapped him, snapping him out of it. Kaz, focus. Kaz shook his head, his eyes flickering, struggling to meet mine. Whatever was in his system, he was fighting it. Also, no time. No time. No time. He kept repeating himself, reminding me of Annalise in the earlier days. If we're gonna knock your tooth out, we're doing it now. Like right now, before I bleed out. But you need to promise me. Kaz grabbed me, pulling me toward him. Promise me. His fingernails dug into my flesh. You can't let them take my tooth out, Ellie. His expression darkened, and I glimpsed the glimmer of coherence before he snickered. Also, I'm like really high on anesthesia right now, so we gotta do this like now. I just gotta aim for your mouth, right? Whatever was in his tooth was killing him. I had to get it out at some point. I promise, I lied. Knock it out. Good. His mental state must have masked my real expression. Glow is streaming. Oh, I saw him stream the other day, actually. It's nice to see him stream again. Very nice. Very nice. My wife. He was hopped up on wacky drugs, but somehow his hit sent me crumpling to the floor. This time I felt it dislodging, a writhing thing twitching in my mouth. Kaz realized his mistake, dropping to his knees when my vision blurred. Ellie, the walls are moving and I can't carry you. Hey, now's not the time for sleep. Stay with me. Shit. A voice boomed, cracking through a speaker. Mr. Delacroix, please stay where you are. This is for the good of your health. I was aware of Kaz dragging me, Brightwood mixing with another world slipping back into my mind. But once again, I was caught inside an explosion of agony that contorted my thoughts into a nonsensical blur. Memories came over me, but this time they were pure clarity. I was inside a coffee shop on a bustling street in the late evening. The feathered reality of Brightwood had slid apart, catapulting me back into the real world. With no confusing filter over my memory, I could see groups of people, college kids and teenage girls gulping down coffee and tapping on laptops. The sight of it was overwhelming, my old life slamming into me. I had a brother, Nick. I had a mother and a father. My own whispered echo this time I could hear, myself perfectly, my voice trembling. What do you want? I was still nameless, but a whole other life was unraveling before my eyes. A life I had left behind for a town in the middle of nowhere, cut off from the outside world with its macabre rules. The foggy blur over the memory was gone, revealing 2 years ago my younger self, and the identity of the blurry face sitting in front of me. A smirking 16-year-old kid, leaning on his fists, dark eyes completely hollowed out. He held the same rectangular device, a cell phone, pointing the camera at me. Placing the phone in front of him, he covered his eyes before revealing them. Peekaboo. Gas. That was part 2. Ooh. Was there a part 3? Part 3. Part 2. Saucy's lady sent me this, and we can only get to part 3 apparently. She tried to find part 4 and 5, but apparently they might have gotten taken down? Question mark? The story writing is very good. I really like the way this writer writes. Also, it also says part 2, but it is part 3. Oh, I see. Oh. Saucy, I thought, Faith, I thought you fell asleep. I didn't know you're still here. You just pop in. Hello. Just all cute. Let's get back in this. Part 3. The first flash was painful, but it only lasted a few seconds. I was strapped to a hospital bed under a fierce yellow glow that seared my eyes. Metal plates pressed to my temples and looming figures hanging over me like ghosts. I could sense there were others, all of us in the exact same position. All of them looked like me. We had the exact same dark brown hair and green eyes, the exact same facial structure. I could hear their phantom cries, their screams, fear and pain erupting inside them, sending their thoughts into a vicious whirlwind. Something rubber was lodged between our teeth, and we were politely told to bite down on it. When we didn't, they forced us. The figure leaning close to us wore a mask. We all saw the same pair of eyes, creased with wrinkles, glinting with triumph. He prodded the metal plate attached to our temples, and we saw the slight wrinkle in the folds of his mask, which could only be a smile. His voice was a low murmur as he fitted the metallic plates. They were ice cold and made us flinch. Tell me your name. We did, speaking through the rubber thing choking us. Olivia. Ellie. Charlotte. It took a while before my voice to join their symphony. 3 different versions of Ellie. It did eventually, however. Faded it was. I think my brain was struggling to find a girl that had existed before Ellie, who had a different identity and her very own name. I answered. When Ellie was first created through Olivia, she was not alone in that room. There was a nameless screaming boy begging for death, but in a whole different tone. While we screamed and cried and struggled, this faceless kid's cries turned into laughter. There was one rule in that room. The room where every surface glistened with old and new red, and the floor had to be cleaned hourly to get rid of the bloodstains. The answer to the question was Ellie. It was always Ellie. If we spoke names with the kind of stubbornness which came with refusing to let go of our identities, along came agony like a snake, initially creeping up our spine, teasing before exploding in every nerve ending rattling us. It almost felt like a presence had taken hold of us, twisting our limbs, eliciting our screams, snapping each bone one by one, contorting us so we made a perfect arch before slamming back down on the table we were strapped to. I felt like lightning. like we were being filmed to the brim with lightning. In my dazed state, I pretended the lightning was stars, because being filled with stars sounded so much better, less painful. Olivia was the first Ellie to fail. She bled out all over the table. I only know this through her flickering vision, still attached to the tooth. Allie's heart stopped before her death, an influx of nonsensical thoughts filling her mind. Charlotte was our first proper Ellie and had my exact same memories. She watched a man shot dead when she was 8 years old, had noticed the abnormality in Mrs. Jensen's behavior, and had watched as Isaac split Jessica Pollock's skull open in 9th grade. Charlotte eventually cut into her wrist with a piece of glass and fell asleep in the bathtub. She was the one whose memory clung on, who wouldn't let go. I felt her shuddering breasts, saw the pooling scarlet dripping over marble, her trembling wrist struggling to cup deep enough. Through the implant, which was weakening as a reality, and memory came together in one vivid explosion. Inside my mind, I felt her panic and fear. Charlotte didn't want to die, but she also didn't want to continue living in a world that wasn't her own. Like me, she too had discovered the truth behind Brightwood, and had ultimately decided that death was the only way out. I could still hear her lingering thoughts, could feel icy cold water enveloping her head as she sank deeper and deeper into the bathtub as my world split open. A world where I was Ellie, and yet someone else entirely. Brightwood was fake. She knew that, and now so did I. What was real, however, were the clinically white corridors of the facility, centered around the town where it was legal to murder, and the shadows forcing my brain to submit to a world that was not mine. It was nothing but a fantasy. Somewhere between my mind splitting open, revealing my true reality, and the cruel truth of the dystopian delusion I had been trapped in for what felt like an infinity. I was aware that my existence was splintering apart right before my eyes. I was awake in several different entangled memories where parallel versions of me existed. Suddenly, I was on my back, staring dazedly at the ceiling as alarms screeched in my skull, a dull red glow illuminating the stumbling figure pulling on my ankles. Cass Isaacs, who was still hopped up on whatever had been forced into his bloodstream. 2 different versions of him existed in my memory. The boy who I had known for the past 17 years of my life inside this illusion, and the shadow that sat in front of me in a reality where the aroma of coffee was familiar, where raindrops soaked my hair and slid down window panes. But it was so hard to hold on to that memory in particular. I could tell my implant was loose. I knew that one single flick of my tongue would dislodge where it was stuck between my back teeth. Though as I was struggling to do that, it was becoming harder to tell what was real and what wasn't. I could hear Kaz's sharp breaths as he struggled to pull my motionless body through a set of metal doors. But I could also hear the sounds of strangers around me, inside the reality I was trying to divulge. The smell of coffee and disinfectant, a cocktail of both worlds, tickled the back of my nose and throat. But Brightwood was always stronger, always pushing to be at the forefront. When my feathering vision stabilized and the memory of the coffee shop against the backdrop of a rainy evening faded away, I was left dazedly counting ceiling tiles as I was dragging along, wondering why my body was no longer responsive. I think I used to be a bad person. At first I thought I had imagined Kaz speaking because I could still hear his voice in a memory. I could still see the cruel gleam in the other version's eyes as he leaned forward, a teasing smirk twitching on his lips. This current Kaz, however, was a whole other person. I couldn't bring myself to trust despite his reluctance to hold on to his old self. His voice sounded like ocean waves once again crashing into my mind and then drawing back with the rest of the sound in my ears. The boy's grip was slipping on my ankles, and I could tell by his labored breaths and hysterical giggles that his sanity wasn't far behind. But he kept speaking, forcing words through a slur, which had seemingly taken his mind hostage from the drugs in his system. Fuck. His voice broke into a cry. Was I a bad person? He let go of my ankles, staggering forward and clawing at his hair. When the boy twisted around to face me, unbridled despair painted his expression. He dropped to his knees in front of me and leaned close, his shuddering breath fluttering in my face. Was I worse than the urge? He whispered in a sing-song voice. When the alarm stopped, the intense red glow around him flashing out of existence, I glimpsed how sick he looked. He was sweating, pale. His cheeks were gaunt, floppy hair glued to his forehead. When Kaz looked at me directly, there was a fog in his eyes. Something mechanical that I didn't understand flooding his pupils. His shadow was swaying. I could tell he was ready to collapse, ready to give up. Worse than Joe Cunningham. And those kids who murdered a bunch of freshmen in 7th grade. I think I was, really bad. He jumped up, grabbing my legs. A whole new determination taking over his eyes. Kaz started to laugh loudly, like nothing else mattered. I don't want to be a bad person. I can't be a bad person, right? He said it quietly. Then he tipped his head back and screamed at the ceiling, dragging me further, tightening his viper-like grip on my ankles. Fuck! Another pull. Ellie, I know you're tripping serious shit right now, but I would really appreciate some help. He gasped out. I don't know where we are. The walls are moving and I keep remembering things that don't make sense in my head, and my head feels like it's burning. Kaz's fingernails sliced into my flesh. I felt his desperation to escape the red lights. Come on, please. If I knew one punching you in the face would turn you into a sack of potatoes, I would have never done it. Mr. Delacroix, stop. You are hurting yourself, a voice crackled over the intercom. No, you did this to me, he gritted back. You turned my head into this. I can't think straight. I keep seeing things. He tore at his face. I keep seeing things that don't make sense. Why, Ellie? His cry sent shivers down my spine. I keep seeing her. In every flash I see her. And my brain is spoiling. I feel like my head is going to explode. With the vicious cocktail of drugs in his system, his voice turned sing-song. I think I'm going crazy. Kaz laughed, his eyes suddenly far too bright. Even though my flickering eyes, the contrast of his blood in the marble corridor was horrifying. I could see every river of red sliding between cracks in the tiles, pooling scarlet dripping down his chin, and staining the blue gown hanging off of him. Why is it all you? His lips split into a grin. For a fraction of a second, his old self, the one I had seen in my memory, was seeping through. The boy tipped his head back and screamed. Why, her? Fucking tell me. Let me handle this, a familiar voice floated behind us. I wasn't sure where it was coming from, though I did have a vague guess that we were surrounded. When Kaz gave up and dropped my ankles, I sensed footsteps growing closer to us. I expected Kaz to try and run, but instead he broke down, pulling his knees to his chest. Stop calling me that, he said in a sharp cry. Just stop. Like Annalise Duval, his mind seemed to have snapped, splintering into pieces. The boy resembling her from earlier on, rocking back and forth, whispering to himself, his hands in his hair, clawing out clumps. Stop calling me that, Kaz whispered. Stop calling me that, stop calling me that, stop calling me that. When a pair of arms wrapped around his waist and attempted to pull him to his feet, he lashed out like an animal, his teeth bare. Get your fucking hands off of me. The stranger's embrace followed him when he tried to back away, clamping down on his shoulders. I only had to see the masked face and those cruel, piercing eyes to know it was the same man who had taken away my real name. No, we are rectifying this right now, the man said, struggling to hold the boy down. I watched in sharp flashes as Kaz slammed into the ground, back first. I remember trying to move to help him, except I couldn't. I was locked inside my own body. The masked man knelt in front of Kaz like a father, and I really believed he was the boy's father until he forced his head down, uncaring when the back of Kaz's skull hit the marble with a sickening crack enough to disorient him. Mr. Della LaCroix. No, Kaz slurred. No. You are sick, the man spat. You are broken, poisoned. Nothing you do will change my mind, young man. Whatever happened to you is clearly our own fault. I must admit, the last thing I expected you to do was force a broken tooth back inside your mouth. Now, that was the final straw, when Kaz stared at him through flickering eyes. Part of me understood what the man meant. It must have hurt to see a completely different person in place of who he thought he created. Do you really want to get rid of all our hard work? Everything you did to become a vital part of Darkroom? Your fans? The promise you made us? Really, Mr. Delacroix, you are going to throw it all down the drain? When Kaz weakly attempted to fight back against the man's grasp and the odd name forced upon him, his wrists were pinned down. Listen to me, the man said. That is your name. You do not go by any other name, per what learned inside the Red Room. Do you understand me? You belong with us, son. You are a part of the reason why we exist, why we took a chance on this project. It is time you remember that. Bright Room makes the world a better place. It extinguishes those urges people have by allowing them to consume it 24 hours a day. You are a part of that. Kaz let out an animalistic shriek when the man forced 2 fingers inside his mouth and pried it open. What did I tell you? I gave you one simple instruction, and that was not to touch your back teeth. The motion of his hand, as well as Kaz's eyes rolling back and his body going still, told me everything I needed to know. When my classmate's head hit the ground, his eyes flickering shut, I knew the tooth was gone for good this time. The man held the fake molar pinch between his fingers before snapping it in two. He dropped it onto the ground with a frustrated hiss and got to his feet. I signed a contract promising that I would raise and protect Darkroom's own. I am held to that. This time he spoke to a sudden influx of shadows surrounding us, as one in particular gathered Kaz into his arms. I felt a sudden presence attempting to lift me to my feet. Mr. Delacroix has been severely poisoned. What I thought would be fixed by a new tooth had clearly blown up in our faces. Since the regression has reached the boy's mind, I want him in the Red Room now. The young man must undergo Protocol 415 immediately. If we don't, the boy will die. We would need a stage 3 wipe, a full decontamination. Kaz was dying, bleeding out. When they carried him away, his nose and mouth and ears hemorrhaging, his body convulsing. I was frowning at the amount of contrasting red and white on the floor when I was pulled unceremoniously to my feet, jarring the world around me. That was the exact moment I needed. I remember being a little kid inside this fake world of Brightwood. I had a loose tooth in front of my mouth. And with the promise of the tooth fairy coming to give me a whole $1 for my tooth, I had spent the better half of the day prodding at my mouth. I wobbled it around until I was convinced it was stuck, despite being lodged and dislodged out of place with the roof of my tongue. Halfway through SpongeBob SquarePants, however, I jumped up to get a glass of water from the kitchen. It was that sudden jolting movement that finally dethroned the crown from where it had stubbornly sat for days. In a similar fashion, the guard yanking me to my feet was enough to send shockwaves through my body. I felt the twitching, moving tooth like it was alive. Before I could fully register it to spit it out, though, I was back inside my contorted mind once again. With the sudden, sharp, slicing agony rattling both my mouth and my brain, I was exactly where I wanted to be. Inside a coffee store. There was no Brightwood. No sterile white corridors smeared with my classmates' blood. There was just the rain. My own twisting gut. The memory was in full clarity now that the tooth was gone. I was sitting against the backdrop of a rainy spring evening, with Kaz Isaacs in front of me, leaning on his fist with a quizzical yet sadistic smile on his mouth. I remember wondering what exactly his expression was, because I had never seen one like that before. It took a while of pondering to realize what I was seeing. Insanity. I had never seen true insanity until I met him. A haunting inhuman glitter. His entire body was practically vibrating with excitement, like my fear was causing him exhilaration. Well, Kaz's smile widened. Are you done playing your game? A girl who looked way too young to be working at a coffee shop plonked a chocolate milkshake in front of him, and he leaned forward and took a sip from the straw before flashing the girl a grin. Thanks. He turned his attention back to me, taking 3 large gulps before tipping his head back, exhaling. Kaz blew a raspberry. Tough crowd. How about a hello first, formal speech? Hello, how you doing? Oh, I'm great. How about you? His eyes were piercing, scanning every contortion of my expression. Oh, just killing people for cash, fun stuff like that. However, I'm not the fucking idiot putting it on the internet. Before I could stop myself, I reacted in a frenzy, reaching across the table and slamming my hand over his mouth. But to my horror, he just muffled laughed into my palm. Do you want me to go on? He waggled his eyebrows. I could sense his sickening smile growing. There's a lot of people in here who would love to know about your magnum opus from several days ago. His words were muffled, but it would only take a stranger straining their ears to get the gist of what he was saying. Kaz knew this, and he was playing to my weakness. My obsession with keeping this on the down low. He cocked his head, his smile darkening slightly, subtle but terrifying. I found myself lost in his eyes. 2 holes of pooling oblivion. No humanity. Or are you going to have common courtesy? When I removed my hand, he sat back and took another sip of a shake. Try again. His smile was teasing, but his tone was just like that of the text. Playful and yet threatening. When I could only stare at him blankly, he laughed. Oh my fucking god, dude. You're like seriously fucking with me, right? The boy groaned. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm Felix. Fee, if you'd like. What a great night we're having, he mocked. Is it that hard to understand? Jeez. I find it hard to believe you could actually make a video. My name is... I said. Why are you here? He arched a brow, chewing on a straw. Why do you think I'm here? I couldn't resist my own laugh. I'm sorry, how old are you? He curled his lip forward. I'm literally 1 year younger than you. It's not like we're different. Felix leaned forward. But I want you to ask me that question again. Think about it. Why am I here? After all the texts you ignore, my calls, even my instant requests, he pouted. Honestly, you would think after all I've offered, you would at least return my fucking calls. He slammed his milkshake down, his smile unwavering. You think you can upload whatever you want and won't get noticed by us? It was for my older sister. It was for my sister. Oh, it was for my sister, Felix mocked, lifting his milkshake. He saluted me. Great excuse, still murder. Something in his eyes twinkled. Your latest and only video, might I add, currently stands at almost 4 million views, 300,000 likes, and 70,000 shares, which, he whistled. Damn, I'd call you Darkest Room's biggest thing right now, but I mean, I'm also in the room. He shrugged, draining the shake. You're maybe a close 3rd or 4th if you knock Lil Slim off the top spot, but I will say you're getting there. In fact, if you check your subs, your macabre masterpiece is just about to knock me down. I watched the boy's odd twitchy movements, wrapping his fingers around the milkshake and squeezed, popping the lid off. Which unfortunately makes us, rivals. His lips split into a grin. And normally, I would probably kill you, he winked. No hard feelings, but the big wigs have of course decided to use me as their cash grab. He kicked me under the table, tipping his head back with a groan. That annoyingly is you. I want nothing to do with you, I whispered. His smile disappeared. You also uploaded a video of yourself mutilating a guy to the internet, which I gotta say is pretty badass. Something ice cold slithered down my spine, and I felt myself recoil in my seat. I swore I would never think about that video after deleting the app and taking all the cash from them out of views I got. It was with bitter irony that the money was going towards my sister's college fund. What are you saying? I demanded. He shrugged and his gaze found mine once again. I'm saying, he dragged out the word like I was a preschooler. Why don't we help each other? I want my rep back after a tiny mistake which wasn't even my fault. He rolled his eyes, which... How was I supposed to know vomiting wasn't allowed to be shown? I can rip out my pop's guts and that's fine, but spewing, that's not allowed? What is this, fucking YouTube? Jeez. You would think they would treat their top influencers with some kind of respect, right? I mean, I'm literally at the top. If you ignored the Nepo babies, I practically own these freaks. And they think they can shut me down for accidentally barfing on camera? This kid was insane, I thought distantly. Like a fucking psychopath. I didn't speak and his smile pricked back into existence. Anyway, the darkroom wants to sign you as a full-timer. And before you say, oh no, I did it for my sister, I needed money for my family, he mocked my voice again. Then my friend is bullshit. If you had guts, pun intended, to do that and upload it to darkroom, then you have what they call potential. Not as much as Red Room OG, but you're getting there. He smirked. Also, you probably have serious problems, but hey, don't we all? You've got to be fucked in the head to get our attention. And damn, he certainly did that. Who are you? Was all I could say. I swallowed hard. Felix held my gaze. I'm one of the best, he said. Darkroom made me, well, a bunch of us, he winked, from scratch. What do you want? He chuckled. Geez, enough with the who, what, when, where, and how. We're friends, right? You've been blackmailing me. Well, yeah, because you're almost #1 on Darkroom right now. As much as it pains me to say, and trust me, it does. The boy tilted his head. I've never been to school, he said. All I ever known is killing my family. He tilted his head. Do you want to know what I did? He leaned in close to me, lips almost latching onto my ear. I really wanted to know how the brain worked, Felix murmured, his breath ice cold, his fingers tiptoeing across my scalp. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. So I split my dad's head open and had a peek. When my brother started screaming, I killed him too. I carved up my big brother like a Thanksgiving turkey, and he went viral on Darkroom, his fingers tightening and my hair taking hold on my scalp. So why don't you start asking serious questions? When he let me go, I started to stand up. Felix slammed his hands down on the table. Sit down. I haven't finished with you yet. I swallowed the sickly paste creeping up my throat. What do they want me to do? Felix's expression lit up. He pulled out his phone, tapping the screen with his index. Easy. You do 2 kills a week. You can decide how you kill them. Darkroom will pay you $60K per kill, and depending on how good your videos are received, they could give you a bonus. Full protection from the police too. He cleared his throat. Now, what you can't do is put out content anywhere else. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, trust me. There are hidden communities that allow this kind of content to get past filters. The world is fucked and people want to see bodies, but hey, you'll get paid and accumulate a fan base. And you'll also end up on the front page. He laughed when I leaned back. Don't pretend to be disgusted. You're one of us. He continued. There are three categories on Darkroom. We have the usual users who post normal shit, you know, like mutilation and kidnapping, that kind of vanilla crap. Then there are the ones that like you, idiots with zero self-awareness who get a taste for killing and upload their filthy fixes. If they get an onslaught of likes and catch Darkroom's eye, they're invited to join. Finally, he even pointed to himself. And then there are the ones they make, which are the OGs, so what's it gonna be? His eyes lit up. Are you in blank? You post a video every day of either mutilation, torture, murder, whatever, and bam, instant cash. Get to the top and you'll start getting a following. His smile was growing progressively more maniacal. Then you'll be able to stream it live, and streaming live, that's a whole different party once you become one of us. Streaming live means you've made it, he winked, if you know what I mean. No, The words were sputtering out of my mouth before I could help it. I'm not doing that. Felix's smile wavered. He reminded me of a kid who wasn't getting what he wanted. Well, the alternative is to visit the dentist. What? He opened his mouth wide. I'm actually scheduled for tomorrow. I'm set for a lead influencer role in their ongoing project. If I manage to sign you on, I get $60K per appearance. My account bumped to the top and my rep back. He tilted his head. I like you, blank. I mean, I hate you because we're rivals, but I think you could be something special. Sure, you're not the red emojis who sit at the top no matter what, but you brutally mutilated the man who hurt your sister and uploaded it to the internet. He shrugged. Clearly you have an urge, his smile widened, to spill blood. That's why you killed that man with no mercy and then chopped off his dick. I'm leaving, I managed to say, jumping to unsteady feet. Dark room. Recently lost our leading girl, Felix said loudly. She killed herself on camera, slit her wrist in a bathtub. Sure, it was great content for viewers, but now they're looking for a replacement. He tapped his fingers in a rhythm on the table. I wonder who that could be. I don't know how I managed to stand up. Leave me alone, I managed to spit at him. Spread the video. I don't care if you come near me again, I'll call the cops. I started to walk away, but the boy's hand whipped out to grab my wrist. He jumped to his feet, no longer smiley and playful. His eyes glittered with that unbridled insanity I didn't want to believe existed. But, Felix mocked a pout and he let me go, spreading out his arms. I should have ran. Every part of me was screaming to get away, but suddenly I was all too aware of the teenage girls in front of me giggling. The businessmen on their laptops had stopped typing, and the more I noticed it, the more I realized it was everywhere. A silence spreading across the store, reaching the baristas behind the counter. I felt every eye on me, and when I forced myself to meet their gazes, their eyes were as maniacal as Felix's. Their smiles were too wide. No, I thought dizzily. Their eyes weren't glued to me. They were all on him. What would everyone think? Felix raised his voice before bouncing in front of me with a wide grin. Your parents' sweet baby girl is a murderer. How would they be able to cope? I caught movement around me, and each person, whether they be a man or a woman or a teenager, was slowly lifting their phone to point at me. Felix noticed him, his grin growing wider. He knew he had an audience. What about your dad and brother? He mocked us up. Your bullied sister. The boy shocked me by diving onto a table, and people started to murmur and laugh amongst themselves. He twisted around, still grinning, spreading his arms out. Come on, blank. Surely you don't want the alternative, right? I started to back away, but the woman who was suddenly standing behind me shoved me forward. Or maybe, Felix continued, pausing for effect. He was speaking to the crowd this time, the people pointing their phones at me. Maybe you do want the alternative. He stepped towards me, and so did they. In almost a zombie-like march, suffocating me. Their eyes were greedy, smiles cruel. What do you say, guys? Do you want blank to be your new Ellie? They didn't reply for a moment, and his smile grew, like he knew he had them under his control. I fucking said... Felix cupped his mouth and he kicked a chair over. Do you want blank to be your new Ellie? Yes, they said in low drone, their voices tingling together. What's going on? My legs felt ready to give away. Who are these people? Felix shrugged, jumping back down. Duh, they want to meet Ellie. He leaned close, his hands behind his back. I backed away, my breath stuck in my throat. Felix followed, holding up his phone. Up close, on my own face was staring at him. When he blinked, so did the stream. His grin was wild. Smile, you're alive. The memory blurred for a moment, and I was only aware of pushing through people with the same smile, the same insanity sparking in their eyes, and I couldn't breathe. The glowing light of the coffee shop faded away as I threw myself into the night, pouring rain soaking me. A downpour which was both an inconvenience and yet also a relief. I choked on my own sobbing breaths as I splashed through puddles, trying to pull my phone from my pocket. but my trembling hands kept failing, slipping and sliding on my sodden jeans. I could sense he was following me slowly. Felix knew moving slower would only drive me further into my own insanity. I could hear him intentionally kicking his way through the puddle after puddle. I thought I'd lost him after leaping over a fence and cutting through a park. But in the haunting dark, unable to see a thing in front of me, his laugh bled into the silence of the night. And I found myself screaming into my hands, my legs starting to give away. I could see them. Glitters of phone flashlights illuminating the dark. Like him, his followers surrounded me. I don't understand when they run. Felix wasn't bothering to shout. I sensed him getting closer and closer, his steps quickening. It just makes it more fun, might I say, chat. I am having a great time, Felix laughed. Are you guys having fun? Because we're not finished yet. Coming to an abrupt halt, I scanned the getaway options in front of me. An alleyway with a dead end but a wall I could climb over and an electric fence. I was halfway down the alleyway when his footsteps stopped. I twisted around to face him, rain plastering my hair to my face. Felix was more shadow than human, a silhouette standing in the pitch dark. But even when oblivion had swallowed him up, I could sense his grin. What's your brother's name again? His words were like razors slicing through me. Nicholas? The passcode to his apartment is, isn't it 091203? Your joined birthday, Nicky boy, should be more careful on social media. Nick. I promised him I would meet him back at his place after I met with a stranger blackmailing me. When I started to run, so did he after giving me a head start. He howled like a wild animal, like he was hunting me down. Come on, Ellie. His footsteps pounded on concrete. Why are you running away from us? When I stepped into my brother's apartment 15 minutes later, I found myself face to face with one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen, and the blade inches from my throat. Standing in the dull glow of Nick's place, the girl resembled an angel. Dark curly hair pulled into pigtails, a white dress hanging off an hourglass figure. She was older than Felix, in her 20s maybe. Behind her was my family. My mom, dad, brother, and sister. All of them had faces except my sister. I saw my mother's frightened and wild eyes. My mother. My father's grimace and my brother's attempt to appear calm, but not her. My sister was nothing but a confusing blur of gold that bathed them in a harsh light. The girl had tied their hands behind their backs with Christmas lights. Her eyes glittered like Felix's, a cutting grin on her lips. There you are. She retracted the knife and stumbled back. Holy crap, I was about to send out a rescue party. When I risked a step forward, she traced the curve of my throat with the knife. You have a super cute family. Sim, didn't I say wait? When the door rattled and a soaking Felix stuck his head through. My body went into fight or flight, and I twisted around attempting to shut him out. The girl's arms wrapped around me, her breath dancing in my ear. She was so beautiful, graceful like an angel, and yet her fingernails stabbed into my flesh, her words cutting into me. Don't do that. She yanked me back forcefully. That's not part of the game. Turning her attention to Felix, who sidled through the door looking like a wet dog. She laughed. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. A little, he scowled, grabbing a towel from my brother's couch and wiping his face. Didn't we agree to share content? We did, Sim pouted, but I wanted to tie them up. Felix shoved me to my knees. When I cried out, he slammed his hand over my mouth. Now, this is a snuff film. You thought you were at the top. Darkroom spawns the sickest of the sick. Subhuman trash who deserve to rot in the ground. The true unraveling of a human psyche. He laughed, and that's us. He stroked his hands across my cheek. You shouldn't have challenged us. Darkroom wants you, and that's their game. I'm looking forward to our new Ellie. But first, I want to remind you that to know your fucking place. You're only at the top because of luck, sweetheart. Sim pressed her knife to my mother's throat, humming a nursery rhyme. This little piggy went to the market, she sang, before slicing my mother's throat open. My vision blurred and I was aware I was screaming, but no sound was coming out. When I tried to throw myself forward, Felix yanked me back with a loud laugh. This little piggy stayed home, Sim snapped. Sim stabbed the blade into my father's chest, and he slumped forward. The girl made a face pulling out the blade, my dad's blood splattering her face. She flashed me a smile before moving on to my brother. This little piggy had roast beef. The blade this time split open his skull, then went into his throat. And this little piggy had none. Reality blurred as I watched red pool onto my brother's rug. My father's blood, my family's blood coming together. And this little piggy, the girl had reached my sister, wrenching her head back by her ponytail and teasing the teeth of the knife across her throat. The girl's smile pricked before she let my sister go. Her eyes flicked to me. She's all yours, Fee. There's your content. Sim knelt in front of my sister and covered her eyes playfully before suddenly revealing them. Peekaboo! The glowing blur that was my sister didn't scream or cry, just stared ahead. I couldn't see her face, and yet I knew her eyes were unseeing, rejecting reality. Do you want to guess how many people are watching right now? Felix murmured. I didn't reply, choking through the violent sobs racking my chest. 3 million, he said. 3 million sick bastards watching us carve your family into pieces. And I'm not even finished. So here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of killing your sister right here, right now, I'm gonna take my time. Felix pressed his lips to my cheek in a mocking kiss. I'm gonna take chunks of her every day, body and mind, so that when I do the big reveal, you won't even recognize her. I'll make her last. Don't worry. And hey, he chuckled, maybe just to see your despair, I'll ask the bigwigs if she can be put into the project. He let go of me with a hysterical laugh. Imagine that, your own sister. When I'm finished with her, she'll be begging to die. I screamed, but it choked up in my throat. Keep screaming, that's what they love. When I was in Red Room, oh man, they sucked up my screams like it was their drug. These bastards feed off of our pain. Shh, Sim hissed and giggled. We're not supposed to. Oh, relax. It's not like the Red Room is a secret. It makes peekers. I felt his fingers pushing through my lips, choking me. See, you do have cavities. Now, blink. I'd like you to meet someone. She's been waiting for you. His voice was sing-songy. I was forced to breathe in an aroma which made my head spin like inhaling bleach. Say hello, Ellie. My vision blurred and I was back inside clinical white, strapped down. Metallic plates glued to my temples once more. I saw Kaz looming over me, or Felix. The boy who I had known my whole life, or at least the one inside Brightwood, was nothing but a lie, forced inside a psychopath. He was still draped in his bloody gown, but he had color in his cheeks, which meant that the tooth was gone. That humanity he was clinging onto was gone. I blinked through withering visions as bolts ran through me. I could see the slight glint of the camera encircling his irises. The boy bent down, ice-cold breath tickling my neck, and in a sing-song voice as if he had been prodding inside my brain and seeing the memory he finished in nursery rhyme. A familiar giggle came from behind him, and I saw an older-looking Sim, her shorter curls tied into pigtails. A group of boys and girls joined her, surrounding me. They must have been what Felix was talking about. Peekers. Standing next to Kaz, still laughing, her entire body turned into a laugh track, was Annalise. Her pale skin glistened with sweat, hollow eyes turning her into a puppet on strings. Felix's word echoed in my mind. I'm gonna take her apart mentally too. First her mind, then I'll start cutting pieces off of her. Not enough to kill her, no, but maybe. 'Cause one day I want to remind you of your sister. And I want you to look at her and have that painful thought. One that will rip you apart from the inside. I have a sister. He mocked my voice. Do I really have a sister? Wow, I have no idea. Something wet hit my forehead. Kaz's blood spotting my cheeks as a stray thought began to blossom my mind. And this little piggy, Kaz continued to sing, his finger tiptoeing across my face, went all the way home. Featured writer, that's disturbing. Also, the girl killed a man who harmed her sister violently enough to get her first place on the first try. Do you really want to kill her family? Man. That's it. I don't, Faith said that the others were deleted by this person. Crazy story though. Yeah, man, I wish it didn't end like that. Yes, me too, man. That was a great time. I quite enjoyed reading that. I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna look at her or their other stories. I don't know their pronouns. Trash Tia. I kind of think it's a she, her, but like, I don't know. I have 3 unpublished books and I'm hoping to start submitting my works to receive feedback. I'm gonna follow them. I'm not really on Reddit that often. I only go on when I need help usually, but I don't scroll Reddit very much. Hi Jelly. I just finished the story. It was crazy. It was great. I want to read more of their work. I like how they write. It's very good. It is good. What time is it? Oh shit, it's like 1 o'clock. How long have I been streaming? Scary. It's okay, I just finished. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. Well, like 30 minutes we were watching the video, so I've been reading for 3 hours. My voice is kind of hoarse. I haven't shared this before, but it's been on my mind. In high school, a friend's mom was going out of town. She planned on having people over, but for whatever reason, it ended up being her and I having a sleepover. She may have canceled the party plans to not get in trouble. Regardless, everyone in the small town knew about it. About midnight, we heard scraping sounds coming from the back bedrooms. We thought it was friends trying to freak us out. It continued, but we didn't see anything. This went on for a while, and we were getting scared. We peeked out and saw this person's head in the large front window. He had a distinctive hairstyle, so we knew who it was. He was a very quiet guy that was always around but seemed out of it. No one really knew his story, but he was always on the fringes of things. We thought it was he was weird but harmless. So we called the police and they looked around. They found pry marks on the back bedroom window frame. We told them who we saw in the window. Nothing else happened that night, but we were pretty scared. Cut to a few years later. The person that was stalking us that night broke into a house and brutally murdered a woman that lived alone. It was a town tragedy. The family ended up tearing down the house and leaving an empty parking lot. And leaving an empty lot, I'll never forget seeing that shadow of his head in that window. That's crazy! That's crazy. My neighbors say they've known my son for years. I've never had children. old must he be now? 8? 9? I stared at my neighbor, unsure what she was asking. She read the confusion on my face. You're a cute little guy. I saw him biking down the lane earlier. He must be old enough for grade 4 now, right? Mrs. Babbage was a bit on the older side, but I never thought she had shown any signs of dementia. Not until now. I wasn't exactly sure what to say. She proceeded to stare at me, tilting her head as if I was the one misremembering. I awkwardly opened my mouth. Oh, right. My little guy. She brightened. Yes, he must be in 4th grade, right? Sure. I mean, yes, he is. What a cute little guy, she said, and returned to watering her flowers. It was an odd, slightly sad moment. I wondered if her husband had seen glimmers of this too. I could only hope that this was a momentary blip and not the sign of anything Alzheimer's related. I took the rest of my groceries out of my car and entered home. I had a long day of teaching. I just wanted to sit back, unwind, and watch something light on TV. But as soon as I took off my first shoe, I smelled it. Something burning on the stove. Something burning with lots of cheese on it. The hell? I dashed over to the kitchen and almost fell down. Partially because I was wearing only one shoe, and also because there was a scrawny little boy frying Kraft dinner. I let out a half scream. But very quickly I composed myself into the same assertive adult who taught at a university. What? Excuse me, who are you? What are you doing here? The boy's blonde willow-like hair whipped around his face as he looked at me with equal surprise. Papa, what do you mean? I'm here. He was a scared, confused child, and I couldn't quite place the bizarre inflections of his word. Do you want some KD, Papa? I have some. Have some. Oh, was that a Russian accent? It took me a second to realize he was wearing an oversized shirt that looked just like mine. Was he wearing my clothes? I held out my palms like I would at any lecture, my standard everyone settle down gesture, and cleared my throat. I'm sorry. I don't know who you are or what this is. The boy widened his eyes, still frightened by my intensity. He stirred the food with a wooden spoon. It's Katie, Papa, your favorite. Chili cheese kind, don't you remember? His name was Dmitri, and he claimed to be my son. Apparently, at some point, there had been a mother, and he didn't remember much about her. He only remembered me. You've been Papa my whole life, Papa. I tried having a sit-down conversation. In fact, I tried to have many sit-down conversations where I explained to Dmitri that would be impossible, but it always ended up with him clutching me with impassioned tears, begging me to remember him. The confusion only got worse when my mother called. How is my grandson doing? She asked. I didn't know how to reply. The conversation grew awkward and tense until eventually I clarified my whole predicament. Mom, what are you talking about? I don't have a son. I've never had a son. My mother gasped a little, then laughed and scolded me, saying I shouldn't joke around like that. Because of course I've always had a son, a smart little guy who will be celebrating 9 this weekend. I hung up. I stood petrified in my own kitchen, staring at this strange, expectant Slavic child.
Now you know when the tobacco starts flowing and burning, it's going to be a really good story.
It scared me.
I have a very exciting, creepy...
I can't believe we listened to that whole thing, dude. Okay, let me get back to this. I hung up. I stood petrified in my own kitchen, staring at this strange, expectant Slavic child. For the next 10 minutes, all I could do was ask where his parents were, and he just continued to act frightened like any authentic kid might. I replied with the same question. How did you forgive me, Papa? My method wasn't getting me anywhere. So I decided to play along. I cleared my head with a shot of espresso. I told him my brain must have been scrambled from overworking it, and I apologized for not remembering I was his father. He brightened immediately. It's okay, Papa. It's okay. The game Glow was playing. What is it? Time flies when you're reading Spook. It sure does, dude. What game was he playing? He gave me a hug. You always work so hard. The tension dropped further, and Dmitri finished making the noodles and served himself some. Viewfinder? I don't know what that is. The tension dropped further as Dimitri finished making the noodles and served himself some. I politely declined to watch him eat, and he watched me watch him eat. So you okay now? You're not angry? His accent was so odd. No, I said, I'm not angry. I'm just a little scrambled. His eyes shimmered, looking more expectant. So we can be normal now? A vein trickled down my neck. I didn't really know what to say, but for whatever reason, I did not want to say, yes, we can be normal now, because this was not normal. Far from it, this child was not my son. He started playing with his food and quivered a little like a little worried mouse seeking reassurance. Everything will be fine, I eventually said. No need to stress. Enjoy your noodles. To my shock and dismay, I discovered that Dimitri also had his own room. My home office had somehow been replaced by a barren clay-walled chamber filled with linen curtains, old wooden toys, and a simple bed. The smell of bread and earth wafted throughout. I watched him play with his blocks and spinning tops for about half an hour before he started to yawn and say he wanted to go to sleep. I watched his whole stream down. There was a lot of ridiculous around. Sushi plays Superliminal. Yes, that's been on my list. I just haven't played it yet. It's on there. It was the strangest thing tucking him in. If you thought Superliminal was brain buster viewfinders like that, puzzly AF. Oh, really? Oh, really? He didn't want to switch pajamas or anything. He just sort of hopped into his straw bed and asked me to hold his hand. Dimitri's fingers were cold, slightly clammy little things. It was very bizarre, comforting him like my own son, but it appeared to work. He softened and laid still. He didn't ask for a lullaby or a bedtime story. He just wanted to hold my hand for a minute. Thank you, Papa. I'm so glad you're here. So glad you could be my Papa. Good night. I inched my way out of the room and watched him through a crack of his door. About 9:30, he gave a small, childlike snores. He had fallen asleep. Cautiously, I called Pat, my coworker with whom I shared close contact. She had the same reaction as my mother. Harlan, of course you have a son. From your marriage to Svetlana? My marriage to who? You met her in Moscow? When you were touring Europe? It was true that I had guest lectured 15 years ago across the UK, Germany, and Russia. I was awarded a grant for it, but I only stayed in Moscow for 3 days. I've never met anyone named Svetlana. Don't be weird, Harlan. Come on. Pat's conviction was very disturbing. You and Svetlana were together for many years. We were? How many? Look, I know the divorce was hard, but you shouldn't pretend your ex-wife doesn't exist. I'm not pretending. I'm being serious. I don't remember her. You can get some sleep. I sipped on my second espresso of the night. But I have slept. I'm fine. Well then, I don't get what the joke is. Knock it off. It's creepy. I'm not joking. I'll see you tomorrow for the birthday. Birthday? Yes, your son's birthday. Jesus Christ. Good night, Harlan. Get some sleep. I didn't sleep that night. My efforts were spent scouring the filing cabinets and drawers through my house. I had credit card bills covering school supplies, kids' clothing, and costlier groceries. I even had pictures of Dimitri hung around the walls from various ages. It's like everything was conforming to this new reality. The harder I looked for clues to disprove my fatherhood, the more evidence I found confirming it. It was Dimitri who woke me up off the living room couch and said Uncle Boris was here. Uncle Boris? I peeked through the window and could see a very large blonde man smiling back at me. Behind him was a gaggle of other relatives, all speaking Russian to each other. Hello, Harlan, the blonde man's voice penetrated past the glass. We are here for birthday. They all looked excited and motioned to the front door. They were all wearing tunics and leggings, traditional birthday clothes or something. I was completely floored. I didn't know what to do, so I just sort of nodded and subtly. I just sort of nodded and subtly. What the fuck? Sublity. I know this word. I know what this word means. I just can't say it right now. Subtly, slinked back. Golly. Into my kitchen. Dimitri came to pull at my arm. Subtly. Subtle. Subtly. Subtle. Subtly. I just sort of nodded and subtly. Shut up! Anyways, Anyways, shut up. Anyway, Dimitri came to pull out my arm. Come on, Papa, we have to let them in. I don't know any of them. Yes, you do, Papa. It's Uncle Boris and Uncle Boris. I yanked my hand away. It was one thing to pretend I was this kid's dad for a night. It was quite another to let a group of strangers into my house first thing in the morning. Dimitri frowned. I'll open the door. Wait, hold on. I grabbed Dimitri's shoulders and he turned away. Let go. It's bedtime for pup. It is also bedtime for me. I'm gonna finish reading this, which isn't that far, and then it's bedtime. He turned away. Let go. I tried to pull him back, then he dragged me into the living room again. Our struggle was on display for everyone outside. Boris looked at me with saucer eyes. Dimitri pulled harder, and I had no choice but to pull harder back. The boy hit his head on the table. As he fell, Boris yelled something in Russian. Someone else hollered back. I heard hands trying to wrench open my door. Dimitri, stop, I said. Let's just take a minute to... You're hurting me, Papa. Wait. My front door unlocked. Footsteps barreled inside. I let go of my son and watched 3 large Slavic men enter my house with stern expressions. Dimitri hid behind them. Is everything okay? Boris peered down at me through the tangled blonde hair. Yes, sorry, I said, struggling to find words. I'm just very confused. Confused? Why are you hitting Dimitri? The little boy pulled on his uncle's arm and whispered something to his ear. Boris' expression furrowed. But before I could speak further, a slender pair of arms pushed aside all the male figures and revealed a woman with unwavering, bloodshot eyes. Something in me knew it was her. Svetlana? She wore a draped brown dress as a sheet, with skin so pale I could practically see her sinews and bones. It's like she had some extreme form of albinism. Harlan, she said, somehow breaking my name into 3 syllables. I've never been so instinctively afraid of a person in my life. It's like she had weaved her side out of the darkest edges of memory. Oh my god! I saw flashes of her holding my waist in Moscow outside Red Square. Flashes of her lips whispering chants in the shadows of St. Basil's Cathedral. Hi, Glow! Thank you for the biddies for that. You scared me. Svetlana held Dimitri's shoulders and looked up at me. Just tell him it will be normal. Tell him everything will be normal. No, this is not happening. None of this is real. How was your stream, dude? Sorry I wasn't able to stop by. I've been reading Spooktober for the past 3 hours, dude. Barefoot and still wearing the same clothes as yesterday, I bolted out the back of my house and hurled towards the driveway. Before the rest of my new family could realize what was going on, I hopped into my Subaru and stepped on the gas. As I drove away from my house, I looked back into my rearview mirror. And I swear it didn't look like my house at all. I swear it looked like a thatch roof hut. Back at the university, I walled up myself in a study. I canceled all my speaking arrangements for the next week, saying I needed a few personal days. No one in my department knew I had a son. Nothing in my study indicated I had an extended Russian family. When I asked Pat about our phone conversation last night, her response was, "What conversation?" My mom said the same thing. With immersed trepidation, I returned to my house the following day, and after setting foot back inside, I knew that everything had reverted back to a ways before. No more framed pictures of Dimitri, no more alarming photo albums, and that clay-walled room where Dimitri spun tops and slept inside it was my home office again. To this day, I still have no clue what happened during that bizarre September weekend. But doing some of my own research, I'm starting to think I did encounter something in Moscow all those years ago. Some kind of lingering old curse, or a stray spirit, or a Cherenaya Vedma, a black witch disguised as an ordinary woman. Although I haven't seen any evil things bubble up around my place since, every now and then I do have a conversation with Miss Babbage, and she seems to remember my son very well. Such a cute little guy, always waving hello. Did you know he offered me food once? I think it was craft dinner. That's creepy. It was good. Pup was using his big brain. Big brain moves, big brain blast toys. I wonder, alright, I think we're gonna call that it for me tonight, y'all. Thank you so much for coming by and saying hi to me. Thank you. Shout out to Saucy's Lady for sending me that freaking the thingamabob. Glow just got here. Dude, it's 1 in the morning. I'm trying not to be late. I was 30 minutes late this morning. Mega mind pup. But yes, I actually had a lot of fun just reading to you guys in my makeshift bad voice acting skills. Mega Mom Pup. Had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. It was great time. Have a good night, Glow. I'll see you later, dude. Tomorrow I am offline. I'm going to try to finish a few drawings tomorrow. I was gonna do it tonight, but I didn't end up doing it tonight. Instead, I was like pulling out all the books I could read. You gotta do this more. I loved it. I also really enjoyed this. I wanted to do a segment where I read like a chapter of a book before stream or something, but like I did that for a few streams and I don't know, it didn't really work out that well because like a time crunch and stuff. But I think having just a set day for readings like this would be very cool. I'll have to find more Reddit stories like the one you sent me, or if you find any more you can send them to me, because I really enjoyed that lady's writing, how creepy it was. But thank you for the raid that we got from Muzelia. That was very nice. So I will see you guys on Thursday for sushi, spooky beans, extravaganza, weekly book club. Yes, dude. Should we do that? Should we do a book club? That sounds really fun. But I'll see you Thursday. Me and Beans are going to marathon Little Nightmares 3. So we're going to be collabing Thursday at 9 p.m. I believe. Speaking of Beans, let's go raid him in. We'll see what he's up to. I ain't gonna say no. Here is a raid message, and there's another one. If you want to copy and paste and overwhelm Beans in his chat and spam it, that would be great. Have a great sleep, dude. Of course. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. You guys are amazing, and you really make my night. I just like hanging out with you and stuff. And if you had a shitty day, I'm sorry. I hope there was something today that at least made you laugh or smile or something. And just know that, you know, there's always tomorrow's another day. You can restart and retry again tomorrow. And just breathe, you know. Just take it one day at a time. I know life is hard, but we got this, huh? We got this. We can do it. I will see you guys Thursday.